see. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. 18 minutes later. Welcome. How is everyone? That was my fault, 100%. I did an OBS update last night after we tested the stream. And I didn't anticipate that there would be a NVEC incompatibility in OBS that I had to update the driver there. And then none of the regular stuff for video.ninja appears to be working the same way. My bad. Welcome. Ron, right?
Yes.
Welcome, Ron. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Everybody say welcome, Rolohaun. Give me a second. Let me catch up. How are audio levels? Can you hear me? Can you hear Ron?
Testing. Hopefully everyone can hear. Hey, everybody.
That was not how I wanted to start this stream. Sounds like things are sounding good. Now, we may have to deal with no music today, and I very much apologize for that. I cannot seem to figure out how to split the music off to without you also hearing Ron over the music channel. And I can't continue to troubleshoot it. So
I'm sure it'll be fine.
So let me get in through little things with the giveaways and stuff. Let me, and then we'll go into more introductions and what we're going to do today. So we are giving this printer away, and I came up with some language in that giveaway form. Yes, I want to make sure that me and Fabreeko are not responsible for troubleshooting and helping someone with this printer. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm not going to help someone with the printer. And I want to make sure that if this is going to somewhere where there are regulations involved that might make it difficult or make it difficult for me or Fabreeko, that we're not going to have a problem. So take that for what it is and just making sure that we're protected. For the most part, I think things are going to be fine, and we're going to have a good time, and whoever gets this is going to get a very nice printer, because I'm pretty pleased with how it's turned out. So yeah, and we are going to finish it off today. So link is in the description. We're also doing the regular Polymaker filament giveaway. I need to remind folks that there is, if you are looking for Polymaker filament, there is a link down there. That kind of helps me to track how useful that is too. So, Argy's nephew saying maybe you can hum.
Yeah, I've seen that. Don't know if that'd be preferable.
So, thanks again for being here.
This will be fun.
You are the creator of this project. Why don't we get just a little, to whatever degree you want to talk about the project and how this came about. And I am going to start taking some of it apart so we can install a part or a electronics bay fan and kind of go through that while you're talking.
Sure. Yeah, so I'm the designer of the Rook, and oh geez, I don't even know now. This project was never intended to be like this, hopes and dreams. I had no idea this was going to blow up or be something that people would even want to build, to be honest. I just had this idea in my head for a very long time to do a printer that was mostly printed so that people could build a printer no matter where they are, right? Try to eliminate as much cost as possible. So that was one of my key goals. And then I wanted to try to design a printer that would use the frame that's already there as the Z. So one day I just couldn't sleep, and I was like, okay, tomorrow I got to design this thing. And I maybe spent a couple days in Fusion and kind of had this rough prototype on my desk that seemed to work. So I figured, hey, why not make a video of this and go from there type thing. If anyone's seen the original Rook, it definitely looks very different to the one that Steve is building. I had a giant 120 millimeter fan on the back, and it just had like this very crude duct that just threw air at the bed. That's about all I had for part cooling and stuff like that, and it worked great for me. I love the printer, and as soon as I made that first video, it just kind of kept going and going and going, and I maybe had 1,500 subs or 2,000 subs, and I think it
Mhm.
got 10,000 views pretty quickly.
Wow.
Uh, and yeah, it just my Discord kind of exploded from there, started growing and stuff like that. And yeah, we just started iterating on the printer, and it's kind of evolved to the form that you have there, Steve. But there's been a lot of iterations in between, and a lot of people have made some really awesome mods. The community's really taken the Rook and just ran with it, which is very, very exciting. And I think a lot of people have got into DIY printers because of the Rook, and that was my intention. So,
It's a very low entry point, and it caters to folks that are in the hobby that have spare parts too. I mean, how many
certainly,
people don't
exactly.
have extra 8 millimeter rods?
Yeah, certainly. That was the whole idea. And I mean, in hindsight, I probably should have went with a design that used rods across the board and not linear rails. Would have been even better, but it's a bit difficult to have your Y rods and a printed frame and somehow have those to be like the linear rails do provide quite a bit of structure to the top of the printer. They do
Yeah.
brace that printed frame. So um, I've got lots of other designs and stuff like that in the works and things like that, because I think printing out the frame of a printer could work even better than the Rook. But there, as you know, there's so many ways to design a printer, right?
Yeah.
You come up with one idea and then it spawns into 15 other ideas, and maybe those are great and maybe they're terrible, but I love to see them in person physically. So, a
Yes.
lot of times I will mess around with something and this sounds like a terrible idea, but I still want to build it. I still want to make this. The Rook potentially sounded like a really terrible idea, but it turned out working pretty decently. So,
It has spawned a untold number of variations, right? As far
yes,
as
there's
modifications and
many printers that have been inspired by the Rook, and at the end of the day, a lot of printers are inspired by others. That's the whole point, and that's what helps the community grow. Um, it's okay to kind of be inspired by other stuff. The Rook 180 and Rook definitely spawned the 100, which is a very popular printer, and they've spawned other printers. There's a printer on my Discord called Bishop that's relatively popular. People like to build that and things like that too. And it spawned many others over then, and I think it's also spawned a lot of people learning CAD too, which is really great.
yes.
There's definitely been people on my Discord that have never built a printer in their life, and they've built the Rook, and now they're printing out little models for their train hobby, right? Their HO train hobby, which is incredible. Like, so I'm very grateful that people are able to pick that up. Not even before we had a manual, people were building that relatively well and getting awesome prints and just having a blast. So.
Were first coming up with this idea, what was the thing that was the biggest challenge to figure out a solution for?
I think it was the Z binding. I'm fortunate that I had a bamboo printer basically as soon as I started building the Rook, right? So around that same time, I got my bamboo X1. So
Mm-hmm.
I had the ability to make frames very quickly and relatively good quality and with no warping problems and things like that. So I think in the beginning, it was the bed used to be the same size as the top and bottom frame. So you had basically a third frame almost that was riding up and down on all four of the rods,
Oh, okay.
and you had a lot of binding if your prints weren't really really good. Any little bit of warping on those top and bottom frames, you had lots of binding. So I switched then to just using the rear rods only, which definitely helped quite a bit. And I experimented with like lead screws in the middle still, but rods on the back, and that was like not that great. And then finally, we just went to the belted Z and rods. But yeah, it's with anything, you try to foresee all of the issues, but you don't know until you print it, right? You don't know until
Right.
you build it. You don't know until you try to use it, and you're like, why did I even do this? But overall, it worked pretty well. I'm still very surprised at how well the printer did print, even my first prototype. So
That's awesome. So it looks like we might have Grant rating in. So welcome, folks. Thanks, Bearded Bucket, for the gifted memberships. Hey, Amber and Justin and Maker Viking, hey, Pez, Liz and Dave and Jaeger. Bunch of folks. Shadell, thanks for being a member. So what I'm doing right now is I am installing a little 30mm fan for some chamber cooling. Now, there is not a good way of getting to the fasteners on this, so I'm not actually sure how I'm gonna attach it yet. Let's see if I can get past things into there. Where did that driver go? Just used it, didn't I? Did it go rolling somewhere? Just used the driver. Where did I set it? There it is. Just under 2 weeks to go till Rocky Mountain. Here we go, Justin. Rocky Mountain 2024. Mr. Grinch, I'm about to order the microfit depinning tool from your list. Also looking for a JST removal tool as well. I've been using this, and it seems to work okay. It's from the same company. If you look them up, there's a set of 4 tools in the package that I bought. There's DRK FK4P. It's okay. I don't know that it's worth beyond a tiny screwdriver, but it's JR ready. What do you use for tools? What is your preference on various tools?
I use, well, for depinning stuff, I definitely just use a little tiny flathead screwdriver. I find it works really great.
Mhm.
For tools, usually I have a Wera Allen set, which has served me really, really well. I do like that for Allen keys. I'm on and off with an electric screwdriver. I kind of don't like them, but sometimes they're useful if you're doing the boatload of screws or very long screws.
We can be
Um,
friends. I'm not a big
yeah,
fan. I don't tend to use them either. Hey, check it out. I made it
yeah.
through the rear hole here with a ball driver.
I always lose the bits on electric screwdrivers. And then a deburring tool. I hadn't had a deburring tool for the longest time, and I just buy one. Like, just it's such a useful thing, especially if you print brims and stuff.
Are you talking about this style?
Yeah, like the little yeah. I use one of those so much.
This is fancy. This is Noga. This is also in my Amazon list, but very, very handy. But as far as deburring, if you don't have one of these aren't all that pricey. Where is it? Okay, it was. Oh, there it is. This is also by Noga, but this is a scraper. It's actually easier to scrape off like elephant's foot and stuff without
Nice.
gouging in with like you can with these. So these work really well for like holes, deburring holes and stuff. And if you got a nice long straight section, this works pretty well for just basically everything else.
Oh, interesting. I'll have to get one of them.
It's a little 3-sided hard blade. I use this a lot on the Sakura build, but you just kind of pull it back across the thing and just kind of scrape. I mean, similar to what you can do with a hobby knife. I mean, I do this all the time, and people are going to cringe, but I'm pointing the blade away from me. I'm not pulling it towards. I'm scraping with the back side of the blade, and that works really well. But this is just safer and less likely to slip.
Yeah, that's cool.
Hey Adrian, hey Bill, hey Elf, hey Mike. What? So you tend to use? Do you use like Allen keys or do you use drivers?
I use it. Yeah, I use Allen keys.
Yeah.
Um, I have some ideas for something that will maybe make my life easier in the future. I won't say too much of it, but yeah, I would like to utilize those Allen keys much more. So I've got something in that I'll be releasing here hopefully pretty soon that will be pretty neat. But I like the Allen keys just because they're the right length. They don't roll very easily because of the L, so they're not going to roll off
Yes.
my desk. I usually
Yes.
build printers at my desktop. Like I have just where my actual computer is. I'm very bad for this, but my daily driver computer setup, I'll build like a printer right in front of me because I have my two monitors there.
Mm-hmm.
But my desk is always a mess. So like my arms over top of like M5 bolts and nuts and stuff. It's really terrible ergonomically. But yeah, I find my desk is always at a slant. So drivers just roll off the table all the time. So I love the L-shaped Allen keys.
That is a frustration I have. I coming from a lot of RC hobby stuff, I came into 3D printing with quite a selection of nice hex drivers,
Yeah.
right, from various manufacturers and stuff. These are two of my most used ones. It's 2mm and 2.5mm ball end, but they are very round. At least when they roll, they make a noise, so I
Oh
know that
yeah.
they're rolling. But that is probably my biggest
Yeah.
frustration with those, is that they roll everywhere.
Yeah, certainly.
I
But
mean, I
yeah.
guess I could print something to stop that. I could put a little hexagonal sleeve here, but
Yeah.
so electronics bay of the Rook here. I'm gonna go over a little bit. I just put the fan in while we were talking, and I wanted to talk a little bit about the power supply mounting. So when I came into this Fabreeko build, like you had mentioned, you never intended for the Rook to have a power supply built into it. You use an external power brick
Yeah.
plugged into the back, which would simplify things significantly. But this Fabreeko modified version has that. It has a taller base and then a spot for a power inlet, and the power supply mounts right here.
Yes.
When I was examining the build going into it, one of the things I wanted to do is reinforce the power supply mounting, because by default it mounts to two screws here and then that's it. So it's kind of cantilevered over the electronics here. And since we are giving this away, and I had planned that from the beginning, I didn't want to trust in that surviving shipping.
Yeah, that
So
makes sense. Yeah. The Rook 2020 has a little bit more space because of the extrusions are,
mm-hmm.
20 millimeters fatter technically.
Mm-hmm.
So it's nicer to get a power supply under that. But yeah, I definitely never thought that people would be putting like Meanwell or Morrison power supplies underneath the Rook. But it does work like you're obviously doing right now. It's just you got to definitely be careful, pay attention, and
Yeah.
that type of thing. But yeah.
Something I like to do, and I feel like I'm reasonably good at, is adapting in existing designs. So I fit in a little post here to support the end of the power supply, and then this display mount I made is for the Big Tree Tech TFT35 touch display. Now I'm going Marlin with this build, so I needed SD card support and a display so it could be operated standalone, not tethered to a computer or a Pi. But putting this display in, the default locations for this power supply mounting were in the way. So this one over here was fine, but this one was right behind this little support for the display. And if I
Oh yeah.
shifted the power supply, it would be in the way of both. So I wouldn't be able to get to it anyway. What I realized is that the power supply has an additional mounting tab on the back. And so I added a heat set right here for supporting this side.
Oh, okay. Yep.
So that's what we're gonna put in right now. So these displays here, and I think we're pretty much done underneath the printer until we do something else later. But right now, we're going to pull this back around and see this little tab here is what I'm using. Instead of one of these holes through the skirt, I'm coming in from this side.
Right.
Just gonna go in here. This is a little bit of a tough.
That's usually another difficulty too. I usually have is like that Morrison power supply in Canada. It's about double the price of a Meanwell,
Really?
and I struggle a lot with parts. And I'm trying to make something that's accessible for everyone in the world is very
Yeah.
difficult because it's just in Canada or other countries or whatnot. Not only is it very difficult for me to find the Morrison power supply, even on AliExpress and stuff like that. DigiKey has it, but it's like $85 Canadian when a Meanwell's $45 for me. So,
Where
um,
here in the US, the Morrison is cheaper at DigiKey, I believe.
yeah, it's unfortunate because the Morrison is definitely a much more compact 200-watt power supply, but yeah, it's very hard to try and plan for other people building printers. That's probably the biggest thing I try to do with all my designs. And uh, you never know if someone in Europe is building your printer and a linear rail is like 5 times the price or something like that, right?
Yeah.
But yeah,
I was under the impression that the mounting locations, everything about the Morrison matches the Meanwell, right?
that could very well be true. I only have one Morrison power supply. I think LDO sent me a while back, so I haven't
Mhm.
even compared them to my Meanwells. But you're probably right on that.
Could be wrong, but something to note. If you win this printer and you are not in the US, there is a power switch. So be sure to flip that. Link is in the description to enter to win this printer. Otherwise, it's a DC bed, so that should be the only electrical incompatibility, right? I think so.
Yeah.
Okay, I had remodeled the skirts, so let's put those on while we're here. Let's at least get this to a pretty much done state. We signed the printer frame. I will be in, so the bottom line is I will be in very close communication with whoever wins this. And we will come up with a plan to make sure it makes it where it's feasible to send it. And you're not going to be left out like, here's a printer, buy. But at the same time, making sure that we don't get ourselves caught up in a big giant support nightmare. I have enough rooks, no need to enter the giveaway. Who's that, Kenneth? Or Canrog? When is the giveaway? The giveaway, I do all my giveaways on Sundays at the 3-hour mark. So we are an hour and 20 minutes from now. Even considering the delayed start, we'll still do the same time. I'm not so happy with this high voltage cables over the Z stepper when it's going hot. If it gets that hot on this printer, there's another problem. It is not going to get this. It is not going to get that hot.
No, I shouldn't at all.
Did we offer up a rook for giveaway? We're offering up this rook for giveaway. Is it a standard C4 connector? C14 connector? It is.
Jack's comment there, I'll say Funsor is planning on making a Rook 2020 frame kit, which is on AliExpress right now. Canrog is going to be getting one of those for testing. So DLL PDF and also Funsor do make Rook 2020 blind joint frame kits. And AliExpress is quite nice for people in Europe and stuff like that. The shipping's much cheaper. So
Okay. So while we're talking about this, Canrog and whatever, who all is on the Rolohaun team? How many folks
Canrog
are...
is Canrog is definitely the one of the official. I have a ton of people on my Discord and that are kind of part of that help me a lot with beta testing and feedback and all that kind of stuff. So the team is very, very ad hoc, and there's a lot of people that come in and help, especially with like the Rook manual. You know, kind of was like a giveaway prize thing. Someone did a manual for the Rook. They got a prize, and that's how we came up with the Rook manual actually. And you know, he's been a member of the Rook team providing feedback, and he's also helping us on the LDO kit too. So Canarog is kind of like the one of the official ones, but I definitely have a bunch of people that are on my Discord that do contribute. Not so much to CAD stuff, but Canarog's kind of if you see designs, they could potentially be from me or Canarog.
Oh, okay. That's
So
good to know.
yeah, and he helps me out primarily because my brain is always designing printers, and there would never have been a Rook 2020 if Canrog didn't didn't make one. I generally, it's like, hey Canrog, I'd love to make a Rook 2020. He's like, oh, I could do that for you, and I'll give him some very basic criteria, and he'll just make it. So it's a big help. And if anyone's not subscribed to Canrog, definitely go check out his channel, because he does a lot of updates and printers that I would love to
Here.
see that don't have the time for.
Can you say something in chat? I'll make you a moderator and you can post a link
Sure.
if you don't mind.
Yep.
Plus, I don't know if you if you've chatted yet, but you'll need to chat before someone can tag you.
There we go.
There we are.
So yeah, Cameron's a huge help to a lot of my designs and stuff like that, and he contributes a lot with ideas and things like that. He was responsible for Bastion, which is the update to the Rook 180. He did kind of all of the Rook 2020 updates. I helped him with the tool head a little bit on our latest version for the Rook 2020. And he has his own very cool designs of the Rook, like Rook Scalable and all sorts of stuff on the Discord and printables. So
nice. Hey, Ref. How hard would it be to switch the Rook over to run Klipper if the winner wanted to do so? Very easy. And it will, I believe you could still use this display, but there is a mounting points over here for a Pi 0. So I would recommend a Pi 02. And then just run the USB cable or UART to the controller board. So, okay, one of my big things, now that we've gotten to this point, is I like the electronics area to be covered. Bottom panels. So if you saw the thumbnail for the stream, I modeled a bottom panel for the printer. And of course I had to add my little touch there. Zombie, pay attention. So this is going to go in here, and it just kind of sits right there. It just kind of takes the space. And no, this is a small printer. It is very likely that you grab it and move it around, and it might be on. These are insulated, but it's not a good idea to have access. Little fingers, big fingers. Let me put this right here. Let's see, where's the fasteners I used for that? I had them out, but grab new ones. So this goes on here, and it mounts to the two holes in the power supply, and then I added 2 holes here in the frame. So with the correct spacing here. And then I just kind of chamfer the edges so you wouldn't see a hard edge on the sides. Always better safe. I will continue to champion the idea of enclosing the electronics. So screw there. Wouldn't it be good to have vent holes in the bottom to help more when cooling additional in addition to the skirts? No. There's no.
Yeah, there's huge holes in those skirts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Notch required. Where did those go? Here, there.
To the comment about cross gantry printer, I eventually will update my Defiant printer. It's definitely still on the back burner, and it will be coming soon. But I think a lot of people are really interested in a tiny Delta printer that I have planned. So my plans change all the time. So.
Spacing on all this is very, very touchy. Where did that one go? It's this way. This could be widened. Put this on here. Why is it not going on here now?
I think it's a huge benefit of little tiny printers like the Rook and Voron printers, like the V0 and stuff, is you can design panel mods so easily because the printer's so small. Most people can print a full-size panel.
Yeah.
So it's really neat.
This was printed on my 250.
Yeah.
There we go. PF Dennis, thanks for the gifted memberships. What kind of effector are you going to use on the Delta? Oh,
it'll be my own.
Designing a Delta?
Yeah, I'm designing a 120 millimeter build area Delta. No name for it yet. Might call it Pawn with the chess theme, but it'll be my own effector. And it's meant to be, let's get people into Delta printers. It's going to be entry level, easy to build. It should be probably my cheapest printer because Deltas are quite inexpensive because there's a lot less parts. So yeah, I've got a lot of ideas in the works.
Cheaper than this?
Very difficult. What's that?
Cheaper than this build?
Yes, it should be.
Really?
But again, I think when I release that printer, I'm gonna try and stress like again, the Rook was never meant to have a heated bed, right? I entirely designed the printer just to be old school, print on a glass plate or painter's tape. I still to this day love printing on glass or painter's tape. In Canada, right, V0 bed's $60. So the price of the Rook goes up quite a bit just by adding a heated bed. So my Delta, my micro Delta, I would really like to have it just a printed bed, right? Just a PLA or ABS printed bed, whatever you would like. It's a PLA printer primarily, and you can save so much money on a build like that, right? So that's kind of my idea, but I know people have heated beds, and that's fine. You could probably put a V0 bed on my Delta as well. So, you know, I always try to leave those options open, but yeah, the Rook was never supposed to have a heated bed as well.
Okay, so this does use a V0 LDO polyamide heater with a thermal fuse bed. It is 24 volts, so we are not running mains voltage to the bed. Get the thermistor. I pulled the thermistor off and plugged it in so Marlin would stay happy. It just threads into the bottom. Now, I had mentioned, I'd heard I may have trouble with clearance here, but we will find out.
I think it depends on your springs, but on mine, on my shelf here, I have a good 5 or 6 millimeters between the thermistor cable and the bed.
What is the, I saw someone ask earlier, what is the intended build volume of these?
I think if I remember correctly, it's been a while. I think it's around 110 by 110 ish. It's almost the size of the bed. You get the full size with the 2020 build because there is a little bit more, but yeah, I think it's a 110 by 110 if I remember correctly. But yeah, Canrog knows better because he's built like more rooks than I have.
And this is restricted a little bit more due to the rookery tool head here, right? Is that what it's called, the rookery?
Yeah, so Gulsifer, one of my longtime subscriber or Discord members, he was there since the beginning. He's another Rook addict. He designed the Rookery toolhead, and we just kind of made it the default. Um, very, very nice toolhead to get like actual cooling because, like I said before, it was just a 120 millimeter bowler on the back of the Rook that just kind of threw air wherever.
Mm-hmm.
I loved it, but most people didn't, and so the Rookery kind of came. But the build area is kind of the same size. I don't know if the Rookery, because the fans were mounted up so high, I don't think it actually changed the build size.
This'll be fine. Now, and that doesn't drop as quickly as I was expecting it to.
Yeah, it's not too bad. Sometimes I find when you use a printer a little bit, like the motor will wear in a little bit and it'll drop faster. But
Okay.
I think it does
Or the
depend on the motor and things like that. I don't know if it's the belt too, also kind of
belt kind of stretching,
maybe a bit,
wearing
yeah.
in.
But yeah, that's another thing I think my community knows about me is like bed drop for me. I don't really care about it. Like I've once the printer's assembled and I have my dock macro in place, bed drop doesn't bother me, but I know a lot of people absolutely hate it. So like geared Z was never even a thing for me, and I know Canrog definitely put geared Z in the 2020 build and stuff like that. But my simple core printer, which was basically similar to a Trident, had a huge bed on it, and yeah, the bed would definitely drop, and if you weren't careful, it would break parts. But I just lived with it, and I was just like, yeah, I love the simplicity of not having a gear reduction, but to
Yeah,
each their own. That's the best part about printers is build the printer that you want, right?
this is true. Is this the original, not original, but for this design, is this the intended Z end stop location across the designs
I'm trying to
right here?
think. So mine's a little bit different. When I got my Fabreeko kit, I used my STLs. I didn't use Fabreekos.
Mm-hmm.
So my ZN stop is on the bottom frame. Same idea,
Oh, it's
but
down here?
mine attaches
Okay.
to the frame at the back. But I don't even remember what the original Rookware the ZN stop was on it. I think it was on the top frame, like, and you would have to modify the end stop itself to adjust your first layer, which is really annoying. And then I decided to move the end stop to the bottom where you could just adjust the Z offset in Klipper with a number and not have
Right.
to physically move a end stop, which is way better.
So one of the concerns that I think has been voiced with the end stop where it is and the bed dropping fast is just wear on that end stop because that's
Yes,
where it's.
certainly. I do recommend though, like my print end, it lowers the bed all the way to the bottom after every print.
Yes.
So when you're building the printer, you absolutely do need to be aware and kind of have your hand under the bed when you're changing Klipper or you're emergency stopping the printer or something like that. I definitely recommend just, put your hand there, try to be aware of it. Because, yeah, the bed drop can mess things up, certainly. But if you just, once your printer is kind of commissioned and it's working, a really
Mm-hmm.
simple dock macro at the end of your print end basically solves the problem unless you have lots of power outages or something like that, but usually not too bad.
Yeah, I've heard the same thing. The recommendation for dropping the bed at print end. I'm putting these little printed uh, adjustment nuts, thumb screws on here. Adam, welcome, and hi Ella. Fabreeko modded theirs to put it on the bed. That's why it's on the bed. Okay. Anything a keyback could help with? Well, we have something. Hey, Ajax.
Yeah, there are options now.
There are options. We're going to try one of them today.
Yeah.
We're going to try it probably pretty early here. I've got some extra plastic here that's keeping this from threading in well.
And I think too, the bed drop issue, again, I designed the printer just to have a piece of glass on it, which is much lighter than that V0 bed. So
That's true.
that's also something that I never kind of foreseen. And then someone was like, "Hey, a V0 bed would fit in here," and it does. It's a great bed option, and the Fabreeko kit, for the price that they have their kit, it's a really great buy with that V0 bed because it is a very nice, high quality bed. Um, but yeah, that I think definitely exasperated the bed drop is that V0 bed does have a bit more weight, certainly, but
Well, that's interesting. As I was tightening those, it actually loosened my bed screws. So apparently I had not tightened the nuts on this bed enough. So let's fix that. So
Zombie, I
Canrog
think.
is, huh?
Zombie, I think, was the one who wanted the V0 bed, and then it it took off from there. But yeah, my original, I just ordered a piece of glass off Amazon, like a 150, or I don't even remember what size it was, but it was like $6, right? So inexpensive, and I put some painter's tape on there, and that's just what I used.
It's completely out to do this. Canrog spoiling the surprise. We are going to try a different stepper motor. So for folks, this is an LDO stepper with this is intended to be a waterproof seal, but it adds quite a bit of friction to the movement. It is a design, this is a real application, and we're going to install it and see if it drops slower. It shouldn't stop it. It should control the rate of descent.
Yeah, it's a huge help for sure.
Yeah. So we
And
want, I wonder if I can find it. Let me see if I can find something. I'm gonna go into my stream chat. Oh yeah, this. So we don't want this. And let me see if I can bring this up in a browser. Here. We don't want this. Thump. Right? We don't
yeah,
want that. We want.
luckily it's not quite heavy enough, I don't think, to send enough power to the board for that scenario. But yeah.
Let me see. I've got to. I meant to set this up ahead of time because I thought about this. But let me. Whoa. I had left my compressor on apparently.
Okay.
I've got something here. It's going to be worth it. I promise. Oh no. Where is it? I thought I would be able to find it here. Here we go. I found it. No, that's not what we want. This. Oh. Hold on. Oh. Oh. That'll probably be okay. We want this. Oh. We want a slow descent, right?
Yeah.
That took way too long to set up.
That's awesome.
Here we go. Geared Z does that too. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, one of my core issues here is that the hole here isn't big enough, so I'm just gonna ream it out with my knife. Oh, what do we got? 100% worth the wait for the video. Good. I figured I'd be able to get away with that. Okay, so these had loosened up. Let me get a driver. Here we are. Tighten. What do we have? Hey, Josh. Welcome. I'm looking around to figure out how to turn what off. Has anyone done a Rook 2020 mod to use the 235 ender bed?
I believe Canrock does have a design for that.
Of course you do. There's a design for everything, huh?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, Rook Scalable, which is on printables that Canrock made. So it's a pretty awesome printer. A bunch of people have printed that.
Lars. Okay. Oh, I forgot to mention, and we even talked about it. So we have Ron here for up to a couple hours. So just a heads up.
Yeah, I'll try to stay to see some plastic get put down there, but
might be
with the family and stuff, you never know.
Oh yeah. Well, and we still have to do config checks and stuff, and probably some Marlin tweaks. Oh, the GIF noise. Yeah, I should have muted that, but okay. Everything's wired up. Well, now that it's tight, it doesn't want to fit as well. There we go.
Nuno's comment there. My Pegasus printer is going very well. It's pretty much complete, and there'll be some videos coming soon. But I do have to wait till after Rocky Mountain because I have a frame that's going to be coming for the release version. But
it's much better. So so this printer rides on the corners as well, right? Oh no, it's V-slot. Is it still V-slot? V-wheels?
the Pegasus one?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I do have a 250 by 250 printer called Pegasus, and it uses V-wheels for flying gantry. Again, my whole philosophy is trying to make printers more cheaper in other countries. So, like for me, Voron 2.4 is about $1,500. That's the cheapest kit that I can find on AliExpress. So to try to eliminate a lot of that cost, I like to experiment with different things. And I started experimenting with V wheels on Z on a smaller printer, my RC150 or Panda, as most people would know it. Yeah, I've now called it Pegasus, and it is a V wheel flying gantry printer that will be releasing soon.
Now, I've glanced at the design. It has your V-slot extrusion in the corner, and then it has V wheels that are just pressing against the inside of that in writing, or does it grab
Yes.
onto the...
No, it presses only on the inside, so you can run panels.
Okay.
My Pegasus design, there's enough tension, especially when the printer is done its quad gantry. It's completely solid. There's no movement of the gantry at all on the inside. So you don't need that wraparound V-wheel clamp like a V-King would have, if anyone knows the V-King printer, which is actually my very first DIY printer that I ever built, made by, I forget the builder's name. He's designed a couple cool printers, but yeah, the wheels are strictly inside and they press just on the inside of the corners. And yeah, it works really great.
That'll limit somewhat the size that the printer can be, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Again, I don't like large printers, so I probably won't experiment too much. But I know there's people out there that are going to. So
See?
it's it could, maybe you could print it at a larger size. So the Pegasus one is about 250 by 250 is what I'm designing it for. And then my RC 150, it actually uses a triple Z. So it has two front V wheels and then one rear V wheel, all on the inside, and it has lead screws.
And
Um,
and the way we use printers right now, they exist in a tram state 99.9% of the time.
yeah,
So
yeah. My Pegasus printer, I had, even when I had a 3-to-1 reduction, I didn't have 4-to-1 yet. I was using 3-to-1 because, again, it was cheaper. I could get parts cheaper for 3-to-1. Um, Even then, it still was fine. And I mean, you would have drop on the bed after a print, and it was still not enough for it to completely screw up. Once it quad gantry leveled, it was solid. But I did switch to 4-to-1.
okay, this is powered on. We can start going through some config checks, right? I think.
Oh yeah, Maker Viking. It was Roy. Yes, he designed the V-King, which is a pretty cool printer, and it uses those clamp style V wheels, two on the back, one on the inside, I believe. So
Okay, let's see. So this is configured for sensorless homing. Sensorless homing on Marlin. I'm not 100% sure how we do this, but we're going to look through the menu and see if we can figure it out.
this is the Marlin build that Keith made.
It is.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
he did an awesome job.
Yeah, and he's been a huge help giving me some info. I've got some things that we're going to incorporate into Prusa Slicer when we get that far. But I think the first step here is to see if we can get the thing to move. Oh, shoot. We did not get it to move because I need to flip the center wires on the stepper motors. So let's power it off and do that. So last stream we tried to make it move and we got angry noises from the steppers. So the first thing we're going to try is just flip the center wires on these connectors here. So power it off first. I'm going to grab a sharp object and flip those. So, yep. Thanks, Keith. Keith is here in chat now. Maybe they've been here. So, just something pointy to get in there and lift this one. Just swap this over to the other and hope that gives us the right pairs. And then we'll have to go into the config to change the direction if we have to. So that's one done. May have to change invert drag, yeah. I love it when I say something and then I actually do. This isn't sarcasm. When I say something and then look at chat and that's what someone else has suggested or reminded. And I imagine we may have to do that for Z as well, considering they're all the same steppers. But we will try X and Y here real quick. Hey, Leonard. I'm gonna go home from the studio. I'll be listening in. See you in a bit. Let's turn it back on and just see if we get the X and Y movement correct. When I go in there and swap, change the motors for Z, oh, look at that. That's moving quite fast. I'm going to swap out this other stepper. Hey, Luke, welcome. Okay, so we're going to try just home X and see what happens. Are we ready? Home X. Oh, nice.
Awesome.
I don't know why it did that first little move. Home Y.
Yeah, it's weird.
Oh, that's the wrong way. I imagine that's the wrong way. So it homed. We need to look at the diagram for how we change this, right? So it homed correctly in X. It homed in the wrong direction in Y. I could be wrong. Maybe I should ask Keith, what is the intended homing direction on this? I automatically went to back right like a Voron, but what is the intended homing direction? Does it, and I forget what we looked at in the config. Does it home to max on both? In which case, so rear right corner for both X and Y. Perfect. So if we go here, and this is going to be just the easiest way that I can get to for a diagram. Now, folks are telling me how to do this, but I want to show other folks how to look up how to do this. So if we go to docs.vorondesign.com, this is a good general info. If we go to the build and go to initial startup, there's some checks here. But if you scroll down, you're going to see a Core XY motor direction info. So it's basically this, right? So if we homed in the correct direction in X, but we homed the wrong direction in Y, this is a scenario right here that we saw. We were supposed to go to the right with X and back with Y, but we went to the right with X and forward with Y. So this is saying steppers are swapped to A and B connectors. So now we have to get underneath the printer and swap those.
Yeah, that's always a great guide to do. Because it's confusing. It can take you a while to figure that out, swapping motors or swapping end stop direction.
So this will tell you right off how to do it, as long as you note which direction it goes when you do try to home. So we're going to power it off. And grab my little bin so I can set it on its top again. How come the AI is not taking care of this? Whoop, there goes the bed. View over there. There we go. And then, like I said, we're going to go ahead and swap the the Z motor while we're here.
I wonder if that LDO motor will work with your existing wiring. You might not have to switch the pins on it for that
Oh,
Z
good
cable.
call. Good call.
I don't know for sure what type of orientation the LDO one has.
Now, David is suggesting I just swap them at the motors. My wire lengths don't allow that. I've got my harness fairly tight, so they don't, it doesn't allow for that.
If you have spaghetti wiring like me, that's possible. But if you have nice clean wiring, then you got to do differently.
I will be publishing all my mods. I know I say that every time, and sometimes I do. The intent is to publish all of this. There's lots of squirrels out there. That one's magnetic. And because of the tight nature of all this, we do have to pull this apart a little further than maybe I can get this. There we go. Okay, so B and A. Swapped. We are going to, that's okay. Swap the Z stepper. I did not give myself a lot of space here, so hopefully I can get this swapped. What Allen keys are those? These are all from my RC hobby days, so most of them are not available anymore. There are lots of really nice hobby grade Allen drivers out there. I think Fabreeko still sells a pretty nice set. I have those in the other garage.
I never did find a good set. I was in drones and RC for a long time, and I still have some of those, but I always found the set screw got loose, and then it would slide out, and it was a pain.
I have not had that problem on these.
Yeah. Never did find a high quality set that had that stay in.
Well, and your availability would have been a little different too, being
Yeah.
in the
That was
Great
10
White
years
North,
ago,
right?
too.
Okay. Let's get a quick measurement here. We'll be going to that surface 11 millimeters up.
I believe that's a Morrison power supply, actually, that is on there, not a Meanwell.
This is a Morrison. Yeah.
Yeah. Morrison's
never,
a little smaller than the Meanwell.
I never actually tightened the grub screws on this.
Yeah, I did try thread locker on my Allen wrenches, but it seemed like they would not hold. I don't know. I think they were Turnigy ones from like Hobby King or something back in the day.
I had a set of those. Yep.
Yeah, they're not. They were. I mean, they were inexpensive, so it wasn't like a huge deal or anything like that. But
almost right on. What is wrong with the stepper? There's nothing wrong with the stepper. LDO provided this kind of experimental, give it a try, alternative stepper. It has a seal. It's intended to be a waterproofing seal, but it adds quite a bit of resistance to the motion. MIP and ProTech are just a couple of good brands to look for. Yeah. So for my straight stuff, this is an MIP driver. These are really nice. I use my 1.5 millimeter version often.
yeah, you can see the quality on those.
Okay, that's 11. So I am going to Loctite it this time. So pull the other grub screw and get some Loctite in there. 4 parts left to the Sakura. Awesome. That was a lot of fun to build. I'm taking my Sakura to Rocky Mountain, and it will not be participating in the Battle Death Racer matches. I'm undecided on if I'm going to try drag racing it, because that can be a little bit of a, let's just say some people have a challenge making their cars go straight, whether by driving or setup.
Yeah.
2020 Mark II kits are in the works. No real date. Is that the next version of this?
That's our 2020 printer. So Mark II, we switched over to blind joints and things like that just to make your life easier and whatnot. So there are kits planned for that coming soon, but there are frame kits out now. But
okay, that was not nearly as dramatic as I feared it would be. Is that a new stick of Loctite? It is. I finally went through the stick that I had bought probably many years ago. I don't even want to guess. How you doing, Scott? You ready for the trip? Okay, so I think I am going to just kind of pull this up. There we go. Seems good. We'll find out if this is effective. I'm not near ready either, Scott. I'm there with you. I keep adding things to my to-do list as well. Okay, this is going to go there, that's going to go there. This comes across here. It's going to tuck down out of the way. This is a nice tight fit. You do have a red Milo now, not a green one. What is your favorite color to print your printers in? Do you mix it up, or do you tend to stick with green?
I do like to print green a lot. However, I do really like to print weird color combos or try different things. So yeah, I do both.
Yeah.
I haven't found a green ABS that I really like, and it's hard for me to find a color that I like that works with green. So, a lot of times I want like this really nice accent, and I can never figure out what color I want to go with green. So then I'll just go, okay, I'm just going to go like yellow and purple or some crazy colors. So yeah, it's all over the place for the most part, but
So I gather most of your printers aren't enclosed, so you're not as concerned with
no.
printer material.
I am very, very picky with smell, and I hate the smell of
Oh,
ABS and
yeah,
ASA.
yeah.
So my X1 is the only printer that I generally have enclosed, and it is on the other side of my basement. So I can't smell it. But my Pegasus printer will be enclosed just so I have a backup ABS printer. As you know, with like tons of different projects on the go, sometimes my X1 is printing and I'm like, I need to print this tiny ABS part or something. And I don't have a printer that can do it because, yeah, I just hate the smell.
Okay, is that all? Is that all we needed to do? Setting that right? Yep. Okay. Oh boy. That is going down slower.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Oh, well now. No wonder it's got a bit of a lean.
Oh,
Let's fix that. Jinxing myself with the bottom panel again. Well, yeah. You're guaranteed to have to swap the pins on the C. Oh, yeah, this is true. This is very true.
yeah, it's possible.
Okay, let's find out. Now we're gonna go up. That's good. That's good. It's not just dropping.
Yeah.
Power it on. Hey, don't knock it. So you said you haven't found a green that you like in ABS. Is there a particular brand or?
I'm not very I don't really have like a favorite brand that I like. I do have some greens that I like in PLA, but I haven't really found a green that I would, like to print on an entire printer. I'm still kind of searching for that, but ABS is a little bit can be sometimes tricky for me to find in Canada, well, on Amazon at least, just because I want something quick, right? I'm like, I want the filament here tomorrow so I can get this part printed. And surprisingly, Amazon doesn't have a great selection of ABS colors. Um, but sometimes I'll order from Sparta 3D.
I get nothing when I try to home Z. You know why? Does anybody want to say why? I know exactly why.
So unplugged.
Nobody told me.
That's
Nobody
something I
told
would do
me.
too.
Yeah, someone said I'd jinx myself by putting bottom panel on. Nobody told me. They knew that. They knew exactly what I did. Just so they can come up, and where are they? Come up and say, I told you so.
That's the rule when building computers: is you never put the side panel on before you power it up.
I got an idea. Can I get there? Can I get there? Okay. Okay. I'm going to do this without taking the bottom panel off. Just to spite the printer assembly god. Yep, right there. Get that on there? Yeah. Okay. That would help to have that installed. Would help for it to actually function, to have it plugged in. Not removing the bottom panel is unsafe. Oh, to have a little more fun with this one. Come on. Come on. You can do it. Aha. take that. Now it's probably going to not home in the right direction, or it's going to grind and I'm going to have to swap those pins. But it did cheat. Okay, let's try again. Start this around the middle, and I should probably have, because I don't really want this to grind up against the tool head. So I will get ready to power this off. Motion, home, let's just auto home. Oh, there it goes. Perfect. Oh, okay. Let's set up the home Y first. Whatever, it's working.
Awesome.
Nice. Okay. We are at, apparently, let's go to approximately Z0 and see where that is for our let's move Z 10 millimeters up. It's moving. It's quiet. That's really quiet. Got a nice pitch, like lack of pitch. Oh, I can go one more. Okay, so it says I should be at 19. I am nowhere close to 19. That is not 19. So that end stop is, boy, let's figure out what it actually is. We can probably screw these down quite a bit. Get a couple
Yeah, as
more
long as you
millimeters.
got enough room for that thermistor wire, you should be
Yeah, that's what I'm watching. Thermistor wire goes right down the center, and there's a cross brace under here. Hey, Dylan, Rook is wrapping up today. Probably going to leave it right about there, which will give me enough room to move around. So now, let's see. It probably is a piece of paper. I know I haven't actually trammed the bed yet, but I want to see where we're at on just one part. You could tighten the springs quite a bit. I can't now because there's a thermistor in the middle. Okay, looks like we're at 11.1 millimeters when that touches. So, yep, I can reduce the max position since it's set to 200 currently. 200. So I can reduce whatever it is by about 11.11. Let's say 11, and then we'll adjust the screws from there. So we need to open up the firmware. This also means that I need to be able to get in there and get that SD card out. I might be able to get to it through the skirt still. I have the tools. I have the technology. We used this last time to get to the SD card and put it in.
Oh, nice.
So let's bring up VS Code.
Yeah, for Marlin, that's one thing I don't like about having the main board on the bottom of the printer. If it was on the back of the printer, it's much nicer.
So we're in configuration H. We are going to look for end stop, right? Apparently it's not end stop. Let's just go, let's go stop. I don't know enough about what this, oh, why does stop only get me one option? What do I search for, Keith? Do you know? So the other thing I want to change while we're in here is I need to set up that controller fan. So, wrong file. I'm in, oh, why the hell am I in there? I clicked on the file. I clicked there. Interesting. Why did that open? Okay, whatever. We're near the bottom of this file. And stop. Hey, look, there's results when you actually search the right file. Z max position. Perfect. Okay. Z max position, it says was 110. So we want this to be like 99. We can probably get 100 out of it. So let's just for the sake of having 100 millimeters of Z travel, I think we can get that out of it. So to adjust this kind of stuff, which you go to, whoops, I was looking at the wrong config. Rook is 110. This one's not. Would you mind plugging the Chubby Croc compo? What's that? Chubby Croc compo. What is that?
Yeah, we have a competition on our Discord to print out Chubby Croc from Printables. So if you have a Rolohaun printer, you can win an electric screwdriver, brand new electric screwdriver, but anyone can join. Doesn't matter what printer you have. So if you're on my Discord or check out my Discord, we have a competition to print out the Chubby Croc as fast as you can, and it's judged on quality.
Awesome. You can post a link to that printables page if you want.
Yeah, let me do that here.
Where would I find, and just in the interest of me just not searching through, where can I find the settings for that controller fan? Actually, why don't we search for fan? Because it's only 39. Section fans. Can we get a link to the Discord? There's that uncomment controller fan pin, and make sure it's set to, okay. Controller fan pin. Is that in configuration advanced? Yep. Okay. Let's save that and go to configuration advanced and search for enable controller fan. So define use controller fan. So we uncomment this, and this is fan 2 pin. And what do we do? Not want this to run at full speed. I want it to run at like 50% speed. Active speed used when any motor is enabled. I'm gonna go to, this is 0 to 255, so we're gonna go like 125 or 155. We want this to run slower than full speed. I don't want it to be whining under there, and I think any air movement is going to be adequate. So what I do want to see in chat is more like constructive comments, just the idea that other firmwares are different or easier. That's fine, but this is our purpose here is to experience another firmware. And so I just don't want to see a bunch of this is, the other things are better, or this is better, or whatever. Let's keep them constructive.
Yeah, it is nice that Marlin and RepRap, you don't need a second PC or a second SoC, which is really, really huge.
it falls into your goal of an inexpensive printer.
Yeah, yeah. If I liked Marlin more, it's absolutely a viable option for Rook, and you can save anywhere from $20 to $50.
Yeah. I'm getting to the point where I really just want to experience more of them. So that's why I have a few RepRap firmware printers now.
Yeah, yeah.
Although I'm not keeping this one, there will be another Marlin printer in my stable.
I like RepRap firmware. I can't wrap my head around the sensorless homing though.
I
I
can help
just,
you with that.
yeah, I've not been able
I
to really
can.
get it.
Me and Poity banged our heads against the wall just this last weekend. And I think I understand it fairly well now until I run
Okay,
into that situation that's outside of what I was working on and I get
yeah.
lost. But
I like Big Tree Tech boards. Some of them and some of the I think it's Mellow boards support RepRap firmware with like the add-on
yes,
Wi-Fi
yeah.
module,
Well,
which is very nice.
apparently even like the Kraken from Big Tree Tech supports it. And there are a couple others, but not many of the Big Tree Tech stuff. Mellow has quite a few.
Yeah,
And then obviously the really nice duet stuff.
yeah.
Okay, so is there anything else I should come in here and check or tweak before we actually get to the point where we might be able to print with this? Yes, someone mentioned Team Gloomy. Some
Yeah,
of their
that's what I was.
documentation is what really helped me understand the sensorless homing stuff.
Okay. Yeah, I'll have to revisit it. I do really like it.
I don't want to sound negative about Marlin. And I didn't really take it that way. I wanted to make sure that it didn't go that way. Sensorless homing using stall current. Yes, it uses the stall guard um, feature in the TMC drivers. Okay, I think I can go back over here to auto build and I should be able to build this now, right? Saved, I can build. I'm doing Marlin on a 12-volt Rook. There you go. Hot end firing at 50C. I think we set that last time, but I could be misremembering. We need to test the fans. We don't know that the part cooling fan works and stuff. Since that's building over there, we can come down here and wow, that is really jumpy. Are you folks seeing that?
Yeah, I could see it.
What happened? Don't hit the update button, folks. The controller fan by nature turns on when the steppers are active. Oh, VS Code compiling is using that many resources? Let's find
Be
out.
weird it uses your video card, but who knows?
It's not. Oh, there it is. It finished. So that is done. I have a firmware.bin file now. It used a bit of CPU, but not that much. Is this back to normal? Okay. It never got to 100% CPU load, at least when I had the graph up. I want to test the fans here. So before we leave the where do we go? Temperature? Before we leave here, let's turn our fan 1 speed up. Oh, there's our fans. Okay. The part cooling fans are working. And then the controller fan. Oh, we do have a fan 3 speed. Oh, that's this guy. Apparently it's set up to fan 3. Is that normal? That's really loud. That's not correct. This, so where I plug things in appear to be different. So let's look at the config. Let's look at the config for fans. So in this config file, we're gonna have what is this? The hot end fan, is it listed as that? Let's look at what, that's not coming up. Where do I? Okay, so E0 auto, oops, auto. No results. Is that in configuration advanced as well? Apparently. Fan 1 pin. Fan 1 pin. Now, we're assuming that I plugged them into the right spot, right? So, part cooling fan. Where's the part cooling fan? Is this up here a little bit? So, fan 3, did we take any? Where is the part cooling fan defined? Redundant part cooling fan. Fan kickstart time. There's the controller fan. And the board pins files, but it's always fan 0. Now, when I went in here to the interface, we got it fan speed 1 and fan speed 3. Fan speed 1 adjusted the part cooling fan. Does that mean that I have to pull this apart and move things around? Check the board wiring. But then I have to pull the bottom panel. I'm gonna pull the bottom panel. What side is this on? Let's see if I can see without pulling the bottom panel. I don't think I'll be able to, but I'm gonna be stubborn. I'm not going to be stubborn because we have to do two things now. We have to do the SD card to flash that firmware we changed, and then we have to change or check our fan wiring. So let's do it. You have to disable redundant part cooling fan if you haven't already. I saw that. I saw that in here. Redundant part cooling fan. It isn't. It says define redundant part cooling fan is off, right? That should be okay, I think. Cool. What did you say, Ron?
Until you push plastic, it might be a sign to just leave the bottom panel off.
I get more engagement if I put it back on.
It's true. It's true.
Hey, Brian. Will an SD card extension work temporary? There is, if I brought a USB cable out, Keith was saying, show me how to set up a flashing that way, but I didn't get a chance to do that. This doesn't take long. I'll see if I can see what I did. So hot end fan is on this connector. Let's see. BTT E3 V3 GitHub. This should be fine. SKR Mini. Hardware. V3, and pin diagram. You can upload via USB with some options. So fan, oh, that's fan 2. Well, yeah, that's why it's not working, because I plugged everything into the wrong spots. So I'll pull the power supply then. I plugged everything into the wrong spots. How are we doing? We have almost 350 people here, but only 150 likes. We try to hit 300 likes by giveaway time. We are giving this printer away, so I think that probably deserves it.
Yeah, it's a cool giveaway.
Okay, so fan 0 is a part cooling fan. That's in the right spot. So that makes sense. Can't you change the pins in the config? For the part cooling fan, I would have had to change the board definition. So it's easier to go in here and tweak those. Just hot end fan is in fan 1. This guy is in fan 2. So time to swap that Z motor if you haven't already. I did. Yep, I did. And then we're going to pull the SD card since it's nice and accessible, and we're going to copy that firmware file to it. To get the controller fan working. Hey, Shammy. Hey, Daniel. Welcome. Yeah, Mammoth. It very much takes a while. It depends on how many squirrels I chase during the week. I don't want that. There was a folder. I said no. A little update thing came up. Yes, I want to cancel that update. And it still came up, even though I said no. And now it's saying I got to restart. No. If it actually restarts, I'm going to uninstall it. So here's our firmware file. We're going to throw this on the USB drive. Make sure it's there. And I usually end up just deleting. You don't have to delete that current firmware file. I just tend to.
Yeah, I like to do it too.
Okay. So now we can pull this back. That little
Do
window
you
with the
safely
firmware.
eject your USB though?
What's that?
Are you one of the people who safely ejects the USB?
Oh, no. No, not at
Yeah,
all.
I never do either.
You don't have to. It doesn't cache anymore. That's not the default behavior. It used to be the default behavior to cache
Yeah.
removable drives. Hey, BBs. This in here. You know. Oh, I guess I can do this. Hey, Richard. Most BTT boards will overwrite the cur file, but some don't. Update your board in every power cycle. Ooh. Where did that one go? Did it fall out somewhere? Did I set it somewhere? Oh, there it is. It rolled somewhere. It's almost noon. What do we got? We got up over 200 likes now. I'm not seeing the whole number. Oh, shoot. Where'd you go? There you are. Chaz, we're okay. We don't need that. It's almost 2 p.m. Look, it's noon. Okay. Years ago, I had a client, they didn't eject a USB stick and just unplugged it. The laptop would restart. Well, that doesn't sound fun.
That's not ideal.
Sure is nice when the tools are magnetic. That's why that screw is a steel screw and not a stainless screw. Very intentionally.
Yeah, that's nice.
Hard to get one. I very specifically put a steel screw there. Okay, bottom panel's going back on. This is the last time we're under here.
I have to say, I do like the retro look of Marlin screens. Like
Yeah.
the old school mode. It's just, I don't know.
The real life and CAD don't quite match up. So that's why I have to tweak it a little bit to get those screws in. See you, Luke. I also had to put a couple of washers underneath this screw because otherwise it was driving into the power supply and not able to be tightened down all the way. Okay. Garrett had asked earlier if I had a scale out here to see how much this weighs, but I do not. I put my scale in the other garage. I was weighing filament, see how much it dried. Okay, so that should load that firmware file and start up, and hopefully we'll have proper behavior from the fans. Oh, there it is. So let's go right in here and go to temperature. Oh, I only get the one fan speed, which there's the part cooling fan. So that's correct. Okay, let's turn the nozzle up to 50 only. Move any motors now and controller fans should kick on. Simple to read config files and the ability to flash without an SD card is super nice. It actually is. It definitely is. What I like about Klipper config files versus RepRap firmware is the plain language. You can understand what each setting does instead of having to look up a G code. The Marlin config file is very well documented. Everything is explained in that config file. It just means there's a lot of scrolling. But it's similarly to Klipper, you can kind of understand what each thing is based on the name of the config value. Let's go ahead and home the whole thing to get that controller fan up and running. And it is running. I can hear it. Yep, I was going to the heating to 50 was the next thing. So we've got temperature here. Let's go to 50. Oop, not 100. It moves faster the faster you turn there's an acceleration on the, let's go 51. We're going to area 51. So once that gets up, assuming it heats, and it is only 50, so I'm going to see if this, oh, there it goes. Ooh, that's loud. And it is heating. So, yep. So let's go here and cool down. Yeah, our pre-flight check stuff is all going, right? All the things work. Oh, we haven't checked the extruder direction, making sure that it moves. Let's do, and it's going to need a a min temperature. So let's go ahead and do our PID tune next. And we can do that via the interface here. We're going to go in here and go to configuration and probably advanced settings. And well, that just does that. Where's our, isn't there a, isn't there a thing in here? I thought I remembered there being a, maybe it's in temperature. No. Shouldn't this be in here? Configuration. That's where I just was. Ah, here we are. Temperature. And auto tune E1. Shouldn't that be E0? Okay, well, it's set up to this. So we're going to auto tune that to 210 degrees, apparently. 210 is good. Okay, so now it's going to do an auto tune. Should probably wait till the hot end temp gets back down to room temp. It got under the trigger. I could have done the bed first, I guess. Do you have any Marlin machines right now, Ron?
No, I don't.
They're all Klipper.
Yeah, all Klipper.
What's your go-to SBC?
So I actually use my Linux laptop for most of my, again, cost savings, right?
Yeah.
But the CB1 is probably my favorite. It's so cheap, even in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
And I mostly use Big Tree Tech stuff. So like, yeah, I'll just use a CB1 just because I like the form factor. It's easy to use and surprisingly pretty well documented. So, but I have a Linux, just an old Lenovo X1 Linux laptop that runs Ubuntu. It runs most of my printers.
How many can you run at once?
I think I've done 4 at a time, but you can definitely run into some USB oddities. Like I've been trying out a cartographer probe,
Uh-huh.
and my cartographer probe will not work with my USB hub. It just constantly disconnects. So I have to have a dedicated USB port for it. So there's some weirdity to that. I don't recommend it for everyone, but it saves me money, especially when Pis were so expensive and the CD1 didn't exist. I just used a Linux laptop or desktop, and it saved so much money.
This is what I'm working on right now.
Oh yes, yep.
But that's not a CB1. So that's a CB2.
Oh, okay. I didn't even know they had a 2.
It's pending release.
Awesome.
But they were showing them off at Smurf. And I got a CB2 and a Pi 2, the Big Tree Tech Pi 2. The Pi 2 is running Phoenix here.
Oh, cool.
So,
Yeah, I have a Big Tree Tech Pi 2 coming from them. So I like that because it has a 24-volt power supply in on the Big Tree Tech Pi, which is very handy.
This is a modified, so this is for Legacy. This is the printer I pulled down off the shelf to work on last night. But that first layer concentric pattern kind of really catches the light nicely.
That's very cool.
But I modified it for access to the SD cards off that. This is the M4P controller. So I'm going to run the 4 steppers, 2 for Z, 1 for A and B. And then I'm going to run a CAN toolhead board for the extruder. So, hey, Dom. And yeah, the CB2 does support a DSI display, although I won't be running it on this printer. So I'm running a Mini 12864 with a one of the STM adapters for it. So it just runs a USB cable out to the display. So this, if all goes well, this printer will be at Rocky Mountain as well. My goal to make sure that all of the Voron designs are there at the show. Those Manta boards really help clean up Klipper electronics. They do, especially in something like the Legacy. Okay, is that done? Oh, it had finished because that was just cooling down. Wow, that cooled down really fast. That's nice. So now I can go through, and should I save this config or can I go ahead and do the bed next? I think it's, was it in, no. Configuration, advanced settings, temperature. You can save EEPROM settings. Oh, the Stinger there, swing by and check it out at the West 3D booth. I will. I'm gonna go ahead and save this for what I have so far. I think that's back here. Store settings. Did it? Okay. And then we're gonna go back to temperature and we're gonna, oops. Configuration, advanced settings, temperature, and the bed. So our bed is 45.8/162. Let's see what that ends up being. I want that to probably go to, well, this bed might be able to do a little lower because it's that direct applied heater, but I'm going to PID tune it to 60. My issue with Manta boards is you can't run the SBC 24/7 separately from the printer and use relays to turn the printer on and off. I don't operate that way anyway, but I can see the issue.
Yeah. I like to get my config sometimes, and if my printer's not on, like the laptop's so convenient because it's always on, right?
Mm-hmm.
Someone asks me for a config file and I have a printer unplugged with a CB1, it's a pain. You gotta go plug the printer, set it up, plug it up, wait for it to boot just so I can see a config file. I do like powering them separately is very nice. So
You can script or set up an auto backup to GitHub of your configs. For
oh, that'd be
printers.
handy. That would be certainly handy.
Mm-hmm. Yep, what Kenrog is just saying.
Yeah.
What were we just talked? Oh yeah, Eddy probe. I have one of those too. However, I'm not a big fan of any of these probes that require you to run a whole other cable to it. So, but the Eddy probe is nice and compact. I mean, it's not compact. I'm sorry. Its form factor is such that it'll go right where an Omron was. The thing inside is compact. There's a lot of case there.
Yeah.
But I don't want to run this to it. The only reason, the way this makes sense is if there's an additional like USB port on the tool head or can or something. The
Yeah, I
final
guess that's
version
nice.
connects to BTT stealth burner boards.
Yeah.
That is
That's
good
nice
to hear.
cartographer.
Huh?
You can run CAN. You can run CAN on cartographer, which is nice for people who want to do that. But
They also have the same problems as an inductive probe. Yes. So my only experience in setting up and not even using yet a scanning Z probe of any kind is the Duet one, because I'm putting Duet Mini 5. It was already on my V2, but it also getting the Duet Roto toolhead board and their scanning Z probe. So that'll be my first experience with the technology in general.
good Eddy sensor probes have temperature compensation and stuff like that. So
Mm-hmm. And it does.
yeah, cartographer does, and I know Beacon does, and I yeah.
Does Omron probe need BAT85 when using Nighthawk? That's a great question, John. I'd have to look at the documentation. I don't know offhand. So how do I know when, oh, it says heating. Okay. I was going to say, how do I know when this is done? Oh, and is it actually heating? Yeah, it's warm. Beacon is amazing for a jumbo printer. Does Omron Pro the I've really been liking the adaptive mesh setup, even though I'm pretty late coming to the party on that.
So am I. I use Camp all the time now, just for the purge line alone. But yeah, adaptive mesh is huge.
And Mandela heat bed with magnets did not get along with Beacon. Yeah, that's one. I mean, any inductive probe, you're going to have trouble with that. Why, Ben? Any inductive probe. That's why it took a long time of playing around with switch wire to find a bed mesh setup that probes in spots between the magnets. Been using Flex Tap on my Trident for about 3 weeks now, and it's been great. That's the Flex Shear one, right? Okay, PID cycles. It's on 3 of 5. Okay, so while we're waiting for that, let's set up for our first print. We are at 2 hours and 14 minutes, just letting you know. And we are at 230 something likes, letting everyone else know. We're trying to hit 300. So let's go over to a couple of things. We're going to go to printables. And we are going to search for the Rolohaun cube. There we are. Sure. This is what we're going to print first. Is there a flex boop yet? I don't know. I have a cartographer probe on my Trident. Love it. Would recommend. Surprised me a lot. Hey, John. Welcome. So, here, download this guy. Oh, that's a good question. I see here. What are all your designs released under? What license?
If I remember, it's like, is it Creative Commons 4?
Shoot.
So basically, you can remix, mod, whatever my designs. Just no commercial sale unless you have my Patreon tier for commercial sale, essentially.
Oh. Do you consider? I guess the question is any of this. So I've built this printer. I'm giving it away. I'm getting some financial benefit from that by featuring it on a channel.
No, I'm not. Honestly, I'm not very strict on that kind of stuff. It's mostly if someone was blatantly selling my like designs on Etsy or something like that directly, you know, it'd be nice if you were on my commercial tier on Patreon, which is only $20 a month. It's not sale specific, just $20 a month, But at the end of the day, it doesn't bother me that much. My builds are open source. It's going to happen, whatever. I know there are companies, I'm not going to name names, but I know there are companies selling my parts without consent. So
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Well, and what I'm doing here also has a benefit back to you in the project.
Oh, for sure. And yeah, I mean, I would love to support the community, and that's what you're doing, right? Is getting printers into people's hands, and the giveaways and stuff like that are really awesome. So yeah, I have no problems with. Again, I'm not going to seek anyone out. If there was actually somebody on eBay selling like Rook kits or parts and stuff without my knowledge, honestly, I'm not going to care. It's not a big deal. It's not worth the effort, I guess.
any of the licenses or anything are as strong as your willingness to defend it.
Exactly. Yes. So it's not worth the drama or time, in my opinion.
I'm installing the newer version of Prusa Slicer right now. The printer has finished running that PID tune. So this is going to install that. It is going to close that. How was the difficulty of getting ShakeTune going? ShakeTune itself was very easy to install. Getting the Pi prepped, and we're talking about the green build I did on my Tuesday streams, that was a learning experience. Are you sure you know what happened with the last update? This is true. I did hit the update button again, didn't I? Here, we're going to go ahead and do the configuration update. Every time I hear a Windows notification, I'm looking at my system asking what I did. So we are going to go in here because I was reminded to, and go to store those settings. What was down here? If we go all the way down, oops, there was a about printer. What's on there? We got printer info, so that's a version of Marlin. We got board info, SQR Mini E3, communicating at that rate. Ooh, thermistors. So the type of thermistor setup. Runaway watch is on. And printer stats. So zeros so far. Okay. I probably need to update tool heads to allow CAN output. Oh. Let's go back here. So I've got things to do. Let's go ahead and I'm going to follow Keith's suggestions on the general setup for printing with this. Find your messages. Where are you? There you are. And I forgot to turn on streamer mode, so let me turn that on, just so additional notifications aren't a problem. Extruder direction test and save settings. Good call. I did forget about that. Go back here. So we are going to now go to the nozzle and heat this up to something that should be over the min extrude temp. I don't know if you do a manual move of it, will it still move the extruder? I don't know. Just some random filament here. I'm not going to print with this because this I'm almost out of. E steps and then Z offset would be a good idea. So in this case, I think I'm going to pull this. There we go. Right there, so we can have a spot to just extrude out of there. What are we at? We are at 180 degrees, so I should be able to go in here and just do a motion. And, well, there's a load filament and an unload. Let's see what happens. Ready? We're going to load filament. It is backwards. Well, that's fun. I believe it's backwards. Yeah. It is backwards. Yep. That fed right in from the top. And it's still going. That load filament, that's a long load. That probably needs to be tweaked. I don't want to do that. Yeah, we're done. The wristwatch extruder is sweet. Installed one on my V0.2. It's 600 millimeters? Wow, we got to change that.
It's like a bamboo load filament.
Huh?
That's like a bamboo Labs printer load filament length.
Does that, I did save the PID for the bed. Does that have to be changed in the Marlin config? Oh, apparently it didn't like the reset. So let's turn that on. How long is this approximately? Just get my ruler out. It's probably 340 millimeters, maybe 350 millimeters. Since you're flashing again, it wouldn't hurt to grab those new PID values. Oh, yeah. Yeah. About 350 millimeters, and we need to reverse the direction of the stepper anyway. So I want to wait until this cools down a little bit so we're not cooking the pot in there, even though it doesn't have filament in it. I don't want it to heat soak. But it's cooling down really quick. It's already down to less than 90 C. Let's go, while that's doing that, let's make the changes. So it's in configuration advanced, and you say we're searching for advanced pause features. And right there is our filament unload length and fast load length. So let's go 320. And then where's our slow load length? Is it a slow versus a fast? Unload length doesn't need to be that long. Oh. Part retract feed rate. All that, the rest of this should be okay, right? What is this? Load filament feed rate. This can be pretty fast. Lower acceleration may allow a faster feed rate. Load length of filament from extruder gear to nozzle. For building the full length of the tube and nozzle. And then length to extrude after loading. That's a lot. It's not that much. So should we go the full about 350 millimeters here? Let's go 40. And then this should take care of the rest. Okay, so let's go back here, and we need to change the direction of the extruder. It should be pretty close here, shouldn't it? So this is going to be something like E0 direct. There we are. Invert direction, false. There we go. See, I found that before I read your message, Keith. Let's save this, go back here and build. This is down in temperature, so let's unplug it, and I'm going to try to get to it through the side.
Did you want those PID values first?
They're saved. They are saved. I'm going to have to rerun it. I'm going to have to rerun it, right? No, I can get them. Let me turn it on. It'll take less time to get them. You're right. See? I'm going to take quick pictures. So if we go in here and go to configuration and advanced settings and temperature, here is our E. Here is our bed. That means we have to go back to here. Is it under this? PID. And our PID temp. Here's our, for the hot end. If you want to get fancy later, we have better hot end temp algorithm called MPC temp that replaces PID. I'd heard about that. I think that's in, doing that in Klipper as well, right? Okay, so 11.6, 1.53, and 22.1. And then we should have one for the bed somewhat close, right? There we are. Bed is 90.5, 90.5, 15.93, and 342.7. What do we got? Is Rolo helping with the wiring? No.
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 Take one look at it and know that.
Okay, let's rebuild that.
And there's no electrical tape on your desk, I don't think. I'm much too lazy to do wiring because wiring doesn't make the printer print any better. So I don't put any effort in.
I'll stay quiet.
Not for everyone.
Okay. Now I can power it off and get into the, while that's building, which side is this on?
I mean, it was only 2 weeks ago that I bought an actual wire stripper, if that tells you anything, like this Irwin, really nice Irwin one. Because normally I just didn't bother, but it is. I can see why people enjoy making wiring good. It's therapeutic to some.
Is there really a need for a better algorithm? What do you gain? That's a good question. What do you gain from a different algorithm? This. Butterfingers. Why is Steve main camera spazzing out? It does that when Marlin is compiling, apparently. When VS Code is doing its thing. SD card? That finished compiling, so let's copy it over. Need a disappointed Steve portrait on my wall so I can do better on my wiring. Did this pop up a window with where it is? Yes. This is, oops. This is the one that just finished, right? 1231, yep. So send this to that. And just because, let's delete that. Going to ask, was thinking you had some blood sugar issues, made you look jittery. We're going to be printing here in just a little bit, right?
Yeah, to the comment, Ender motors should be completely fine for if you're using them for a Rook. 42 millimeters is from the top to the bottom of the motor, the flat portions of it, not including the little collar. So, but Ender motors are pretty much the standard, and you should have no problems.
Try number 2. Probably get a look of the back of my head, but try to get this in. Give it a couple of tries before I give up and pull the bottom panel. There's just not a lot of light is the bigger problem. Ah, I got it. Surgery, yep. CocoaPress probably uses that better algorithm. That's a good point. They can't use Klipper because of that. Did you know that? CocoaPress doesn't use Klipper because the PID algorithm is not adequate for the level of control that they require.
That's interesting. Is Klipper changing that? They're getting a better one, you said?
I think the same thing that Keith had mentioned, that other algorithm is available as a plugin or tweak to Klipper. MPC temp is getting ported to Klipper, yep.
Nice.
Okay, let's do this again. Power it on. 2 hours late. Hey, RH. Where are we at? We're at 255 likes. We have 26 minutes to get to 300. A few other cool features. Okay, so everything else I think we can do via the control panel here. Let's turn the nozzle temperature up to that same 180-ish. I think 170 is my min extrude temp. Finish that. Is that fan noise coming through? It's probably coming through for you, Ron, but I don't know if it's coming through.
Oh yeah, I can definitely hear the fan noise.
Is it pretty bad?
It's not that bad.
Okay, so that is up. So let's put this guy in there.
It does seem to make your mic clearer, though.
Does it?
Somehow.
Interesting. So we're going to move axis, move extruder by 10 millimeters. Yep, there we go. So I'm gonna move this until it is flush, or I'm gonna cut it flush with the top of this. And this is the method I'm going to use anyway. There we are. So now we're flush. I'm gonna cut that and then I'm gonna extrude 50 millimeters and see what we get. I'm just gonna go another 50 millimeters. There's 10. I understand RepRep firmware has most of the advantages of Klipper. Does it also get rid of Klipper's batch processing latency issues? Yes. RepRep firmware is a real-time system. Now, how much did I actually push there? I didn't actually pay attention. So I'm going to go again. I'm at 100 right now, so I'm going to go to 150. Because if that was supposed to be 50, if I was at 50 before, then we're way off. Because that was it's half. Because that was pretty much 25, and I bet you that's the case. So I think I'm off by half. Because I was at 50 when I started, right? So that should have been 100. I mean, that should have been 50. Do you remember? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, good.
I'm trying to think. I don't even think I recall.
I think I started at 50 and we got a little under 25. So let's just start with going in here and halving the steps per millimeter value.
Yeah.
So we can do that in here, configuration, and I think it's advanced, and steps per millimeter, and the E steps per millimeter is 415. Started using number 13, so number 1, it holds temp right on. So I think this should be, let's just, oops. Now, it went a little under, so we can probably, is that gonna be, let's just try something like 210 and see what happens. Motion, move axes. No, where's the move axes? Move extruder by 10 millimeters, and we'll go this. That was supposed to be 10, which means I went the wrong direction. It needed to be 830 because I got, that was supposed to be 10 and I got about 2.5. So I went the wrong direction. So let's go back. It should be about 830, which means it should probably be, I'm going to try like 820. What should it be? Does anybody know what it should be for this setup? Main menu. Advanced settings. Steps per millimeter here, and then we're just gonna sit and chat while I spin. Why is that so slow? You want to make sure you're not going too fast. 840, 850. Okay. We'll do an actual math problem once we get close. I don't think it's a 10 tooth. Nuno is the thing. I don't remember exactly. Do you? Oh, I guess it is the Rolohaun. It is a. I do know it's an 8 tooth. It's an 8 tooth. So we could do the math to get that correct. Wow, this is going to take me forever. Is there a way to make this go faster?
Yeah, that's painfully slow.
Get a little. Did some white mice tell you to ask that multiplication question? Yes. It's called a Makita drill driver. Can you do faster spins? I don't think it doesn't have the acceleration built in. I'm going to hit the reset button on accident is what I'm going to do. Yeah. We're almost there. Sure, compile Marlin. There should be an encoder setting in Marlin. It's fine for the rest of it. If this is the only time I have a problem, we're already almost 800. Cruncher face. Oh, that would work. I don't have an exposed USB though. So we're going to go 830, 840, 840. Let's go 840 exactly. There we go. Around 870 with a 10 two-stepper. So these are built. I imagine that the encoder, or it can only process so many pulses. Okay, motion. Let's cut this. Oh, motion, move axes, move extruder. That's more like it. See what that is, just for fun. Yeah. So we're going to go 50 millimeters. Okay. So this is 50 millimeters. We are at, I would say, 49 or 48 point, let's just guess 48.8. 48.8. So we asked for 50. We got 48.8. I think that needs to go higher. So I think it's 50 divided by 48.8 times the current value, which is 840. Oops, 840. So we should be at 860.6. Does that make sense? And I always get that math backwards, and I try and then I realize I got it wrong and then try the other. But I think this is going in the right direction. So I'm saying, what was that, 860.6? Oh. Yeah. Where's your formula board? It's in the other garage. 860.6. Store it. Fit it. Move. Nope, not Z. E. We're going to cut this. 50 millimeters. And let's see where we're at. We are right at 50. We could probably go another round of tuning to get it perfect, but that's the idea. That's where we're going to leave it. That level of tuning is going to be at the point where you're tweaking extrusion multiplier in the slicer. Then update the fourth value and default axis steps per unit, and that'll be set. Yeah, if we go here, what is it? Default, oops, we go here, axis steps per unit. So this should be, just to save this, we're not going to burn it, but just so that next time I do have to change a setting, I don't have to go in there and redo it. What was that, 860.6? And I bet you it's more like, it should be a little higher, but if I was doing it again, just looking at what I did there, it probably was 0.2. It was like 8, actually 50 divided by 49.8 times 860.6. It'd be like 864. So I'm going to put that here, 864.05. Save. I never tuned too much on the printer since the tuning varies between filament rolls at that point anyway. Exactly. Although for a given filament, I try to get my similar printers tuned to the same in the firmware so that my slicer settings are very similar for those. Okay, back to here then. Now, Keith's suggestion, or the basis, was to grab the V0 config from the built-in config.
Yeah, V0 config is usually the best start.
Yeah. So we're going to go to the configuration wizard. If I enter the giveaway and win, can you give the printer to someone I choose? I don't need a Rook, but I do know some people who do. I will do that if you support it. To the level that you feel like supporting it, because I'm not guaranteeing support either. But if there are questions, you can decide whether to answer them or not. Other vendors. We're not a vendor, but we list there. So we're going to go next, and let's go down to V0. So V0.4. So there's an easy way to sync some common settings between printers. Not really a root guy, but interested in listening. The roller server has a lot of root experts. Yeah. I think that's all we need to do. Let's grab that. Zombie, thanks for the banana. And then there is let's do this. So we have that. Let's grab this, and I'm going to save this to Rook folder. So now we're going to go to printer settings, and I think bed shape. I've never actually done this. Let's load a model of the Rook. So this is the Rook print bed Rook 120. Open that. And what is our, oh, that's not what I wanted. Cancel. I want the one that I just loaded. Voron 0.4 nozzle. I was wondering why it said 250. And what is our actual print area on this supposed to be? I know it's not 120.
110 by 110.
110 by 110 is what the firmware set up for?
Yeah, you should be fine with that.
Okay. So now if we say okay, and our max print height is 100, we'll have to set an actual offset. But now if we come over here to platter, oh, it didn't show up. Do I have to save it before it does that? Yeah, I loaded the bed texture. I did it here. Is this all? Oh, is that a texture? Is that an S? Oh, all I see is an STL. Oh, does this thing need? Oh, I have to save this. Never mind. I didn't save the right thing. I've never actually done this, to be honest.
I usually don't do that either. I've done it once in Arca, but that was it.
There we go. Now we should say okay. And there we are. Awesome. I did the STL, yep. That fan is so loud. I'm gonna cool this down. Cool down, okay. Then I need to change the G code to start. This is not going to work to send, well, I mean, it's a basic G code, but it's not going to really do a whole lot. I'm going to grab Keith's recommended start G code. Did that do that? Oh, that really didn't like that. Let's see if it'll copy and paste if it'll keep the carriage returns. If I do it this way. Yes, okay. The sound of the fan coming through when you are talking, yeah. Different settings for different build plates. Look at that. And then we have an NG code. It's going to replace this. Okay. So that's our basic stuff. Tuning is going to be off. Especially when it comes to like retraction. Where is this? Oh, retraction length is 2. That's probably could even be high for this short of a thing, right?
I don't recall what I normally run my retraction on for Rook. It's been a while, but yeah, 2 might be an okay starting point. Oh, no. Canrog, what do you run for attraction on your Rook?
I didn't remember. We need to change this to Marlin 2, G-code flavor. And 1.5 to 2 on Bowden. Okay, we'll leave it at 2 then. Put the, there we are. That is a loud little fan. My retraction for the 33 centimeter Bowden is 1.9. So we're right in the ballpark. I do run Z-Hop, so we'll leave it. If we go here and add the cube, this will get us started. What are the filament settings? What do we want to do for I have no idea. I'm going to go to one of my old V0. It's going to be one of my old V0 PLA. Do I have a V0 PLA? No, 210. We're just going to be guessing at this point. I print at 200 to 350 millimeters per second. Do we know what the volumetric limit on this hot end is? Anybody know? Cooling, we'll leave it 100.
I don't recall. What is it? What do you have it on right now in your slicer?
11.
I think that'd be okay. It
Hey,
is
Delmar.
sort
Welcome. Huh? Keith is saying you'll want to enable the emit to G-code option under printer settings machine limits. Printer settings, machine limits. Emit to G-code. Machine limits will be emitted to G-code and used to estimate print time. Cool. Are you going to run input shaper on this? No. I don't know what that takes to do in Marlin land. Saying we can go to 12. Then under our print settings, we're going to go, where is that V0? Oh, V0. 0.2 millimeter layer height, 0.4 nozzle. Marlin input shaper is just like old input shaper and Klipper. Print a model and measure. Okay. We need a, oh, K factor. Yeah, the linear advance. That would be right under here. And right now we're doing pressure advance. What is that command? Can anybody give it to me real quick, or I can look it up? And what's a typical value for PLA? That's right, M900. I remember that now. So M900K 0.02.
Yeah, usually that's a good start.
Okay. Hey, Iconic. 4-minute warning. We have 4 minutes until giveaway time. Have we hit our 300 likes? Almost. 19 to go. With almost 400 people here, we can do it. Let's save this as, just go Rook MK1. Say okay. And we're going to save this as our, actually I'm going to call this our Rook MK1. It's Fabreeko Rook. What's the clicking sound? I don't know. Likes. We're over 300 likes. We have 3 minutes. And Klipper PA is around 0.4. Oh, this is Bowden as well, huh? But I'm hearing that 0.02, so we're going to try that. Worst case, it's not going to look good.
Yeah, Bowden 0.02 is good for direct drive. Now that I'm thinking about it, Bowden you definitely would want higher, but it varies with Bowden.
That was probably Ron's keyboard, Adama. This doesn't do anything but calculate cost, right? The filament type. Does this calculate, or it can be passed on probably to the firmware, because I see there's a parameter named filament type, which would be cool. Set up your, if you were doing like Klipper or something, or you could do a your start macro. Yeah, not used here. We have 2 more minutes till giveaway. What kind of switches do you use on your keyboard?
My keyboard's just a crappy laptop one. If you heard some clicking, it could be my water pipes. I'm sitting right beside them.
Oh, okay.
When hot water goes through, you'll hear some clicking. Usually my dishwasher will do it.
Those are
That's
for
what the clicking was,
proof of
anyways.
slice or variable cooling. Is there anything I'm missing that I should adjust before slicing this? So if I slice this, we got a 47-minute cube. Let's see what our flow rate goes up. A little bit of gyroid infill. Howdy, null name. Hey Jake, welcome. The machine limits needs to be lower. And let's go speed. So we're hitting pretty fast speeds here. Oops, not that one. The 125 millimeters per second range for infill. Name undefined. Nil. Lower layer time and do 2 walls. Should speed it up. This is the first print. We're gonna go, oh yeah, we do need to do all the leveling, but we are at giveaway time. So we're gonna give away, then we are going to tram the bed and clean the sheet and print. So giveaway time. We will be giving away a roll of Polymaker filament first, and then we are giving away the printer. So bring up our thing, wheel of names. So link is in the description. Links are in the description. And apparently this didn't save my, there we are. Okay. Perfect time to grab a sandwich. Let's get rid of the ad. So Polymaker filament giveaway is first. You have to be here to win. You have 3 seconds to get your entry in, starting now at 3. But I have to actually bring that up and be watching it. Anyone called dibs on the filament yet? So 3. So we got a new one. So I restart the counter when we get a new one, just so anybody who's last second getting in there can get it. So we did get another one while I was talking, so I'll start over. 3, 2, there's 1, 3, 2, there's a few. Everybody plays a game now. They see how long they can keep me going. See when I lose patience and just count it down. We've had like 8 since I was talking there. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 1. Done. Hey, Derek. Don't think about that. So the form for the giving away this printer is still active. So be sure you get in on that. Mike G was the first one on the Polymaker entry. And who got it? Scott, you just got in there at the end. Shammy's playing the game. Who else is playing the game? Dom? Okay. Paste these in. What's our range? I usually ask for a range here, Ron. What range should we ask for to shuffle this? Got to get the engagement up.
A number range?
Yeah. What's your favorite number?
Let's say 65.
Oh boy. 1 to 65. Extra ads here. What in the world? 1 to 65. Favorite number is blue. We rolled orange one time. I think it was orange. Wouldn't let me in. I mean, I guess we can do 42 because that's the most common number there, and it's always going to be. It's either you didn't go high enough to get 69, so 42 is going to be the more common one.
Seems so.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 21, spin. Playing the game, but I follow my own rules. Who do we got? Daniel Saborin? Congratulations, you have 2 minutes to say something in chat. If you're in the US or Canada, you get a coupon to the US or Canada Polymaker store. You're outside and you get to pick a list on a form from a long list of options. Counting down for rocket launches. The last person they'd call. Daniel, are you here? Are you here? I missed. Are you here? Say something. There you are. Congratulations. I see you. You will get an email from me. I know I'm delinquent on at least one previous stream, but I will get that done. And it looks good. Awesome. Congratulations. You'll hear from me. Let me get my water. Okay. Giving away this Rook, this exact build. In the info, I say that it might take a little bit for me to get this packaged up. I want to make sure that it's right and it's packaged well. But I will be working very closely and communicating with the person who wins this. So get down there in the description, enter if you are interested. There might be instances where it might be really, really tough to get it somewhere. I hope we don't run into that. I hope it doesn't become an issue, but that's all in there. Closing this when we haven't had a new entry in 3 seconds. So 3, to avoid a rook bent. Yes, no rook bents. 2. This is still open. Oh, there's one. Now I know it's working. 3. Said we'll be happy to handle the shipping. Yes, thanks, Shammy. Hector had said that as well, so I much appreciate it. Oh, that last timer is off. 3, 2, 3. What color is that whitish color? Even if I don't win, I never want to use that color. It's natural. So this is natural ABS. And I know I went with the chest theme, right?
Yeah,
Black
I like the
and
white.
ivory.
I like the natural.
3, 2, 1, half, quarter. As soon as I hit close here, there's going to be one. Yep, there it was. 3, 2, 1, done. Oh, see, it did it. There was another one. 3, 2, 1, done. Okay, let's see who that was. Not using those colors would have been a rookie mistake. Thanks, Maurice. Perfect. Maurice got the very first entry. Who got in there at the very end? Peter. Peter got, oops, that's not what I did. Grab it. We do not want to shuffle all the way up to 65. What's a good next number?
33.
33? Perfect. 1 to 33. Ajax. I don't know if you made it or not. Ajax. Oh, 1 to 33. Brain crossed. I've seen lots of 13s. Let's do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 spin. Oh, I hear the noise on that. I don't usually hear the noise. Galax00, are you here? Congratulations.
Congrats.
You have won yourself a Rook. Galax00. Are you here? You have 2 minutes to say something. Galax. Galax. Congratulations. Are you here? Not pingable, but we know. There you are. Good job. Thanks for being here. Let's see if we have an idea of where you are and how much fun this is going to be for me. Awesome. You're in the US.
Oh, perfect. Easy.
Perfect. Galax, congratulations. Are you on my Discord? If you are not, it would be really helpful if you ping me. Should have joined the Rolohaun discounted. Yes. Do I have that link in the description? I probably don't. Should have put it. I am on there, I'm sure. There it is. Let's do a invite and copy the link. Will this work? Yeah, so that's a Rolohaun Discord. I want natural ABS for translucent cube for Kirigami bed, but it's not translucent enough. You do not need to be on Discord, Galax. We can communicate via email. That's fine. There's no requirement for that. I have your email. I will send you an email, and we'll work out the details on this. But awesome. Congratulations. Let's print. We need to first get this thing set up. I am going to, where are we at? Just change the pin comment to the Discord. That's true. That's true. I'm going to unpin that, and then I'll pin your Discord. There you are. Sweet. We are going to set a temperature on the bed. I'm not going to bother too much setting it on the nozzle. Set this to 60. Is there an automated process for that's set up in here? I think if you go to, is it motion and bed leveling? Is there a thing in here? Level bed. Oh, well, that's not really what I wanted to do, but okay, I'm gonna wait. It says click to begin. I'm gonna wait a little bit. There were some temperature preheats. Back to printing. Oh, that's true. I could have gone in there and changed those. Has 30 new members today. Nice.
Excellent.
I am going to delete those giveaway links because everybody is really good about reminding me. Giveaways. There we go. And I need to get some filament. Cannot join. Think there's protection active right now. Oh, is it because of a surge in people, maybe?
Yeah, maybe there's a time restriction or something.
Yeah. Okay, I need to go grab some filament because I don't think I have a, oh, maybe I do. Well, no, I'll go grab some filament. At the same time, I'm gonna do a quick soapy wash on this. Yeah, so I'm gonna be right back. Now, I'm going to, I think it'll only mute me. I think you can still talk if you want to answer any things in chat.
Sure. Yep.
But I'll be right back.
Yeah, I was just checking my Discord, and yeah, got a lot of new members today, which is awesome. It's excellent. I'm sure it'll be a really fun printer. I think there's a couple Marlin Rooks on Discord, right, Canrog? I've seen a couple serials for it. And you can apply for a serial once you get the printer. That's totally fine. Yeah, probably a invite timeout or something like that. Yep. Can you? Can you hear me? Test. Okay, good.
Okay, now we're back. I usually pull my earpod out because when it disconnects due to range, it causes problems, but I forgot to.
Oh, okay.
But it doesn't sound like that was too big of a deal. Okay, I am going to test this on this side. I'll flip it around and use the other side, just so I don't scratch up that nicer surface. Okay.
For the question on design cohesiveness, Fabreeko did a good job on the base to make the design. I wanted the Rook to be very hard edges, and it's pretty easy to make that cohesive in this type of design. So yeah, probably a big thanks to Fabreeko for doing such a good job on the base of the printer and making it look like the rest of the printer. But it's pretty easy when you're just doing 90-degree edges and you're not filleting or chamfering. I find it much easier, but
See how bad this does. Hopefully it doesn't grind, because I think I'm off. Yep. That is impossible to see. That's the thing about these framed, the frame being there. Let's draw this down. So this first pass, I'll grab the Chris's basement papers. Okay, so it goes under right now. Oops. So now let's go. Go there. Move Z plus. Okay, so this isn't doing what I would have expected it to do. Yeah, this is not what I would have expected it to do. This is doing an actual bed mesh, not a tram. I think there's a capability in Marlin to set up a 3-point screw level. Is that in here and I'm just missing it? We can get somewhat close actually doing this though. think some of this is going to be an assisted tramming option, but it requires a probe. Oh, there's a screw adjust setup as well, isn't there? There we go. Get closer. There we go. That's part of the assisted tramming feature. We're going to end up being close on this. Okay. Just in a lot more steps.
It'll get the job done, luckily.
Yeah. Leveling done. So I'm going to do that again now, unless there's another option. That one is for manual adjustments. So is there a bed Z? Just the level bed just does this mesh thing. So I think there's another option we could have set. I don't have that. Okay, so you're right. Let's go to the next one. And we're going to adjust this one. That's a good point, but that got me closer than it is now. I don't have LCD bed tramming enabled in my Rook config, so I don't think it's enabled in that one either. Yeah, I'll enable that stuff before this goes out. Now that's going to be done. We're going to do it one more time. Level bed. Click to begin. And the thermistor is not too squished. We've got 100 millimeters of Z travel. That's good. Do a bed drop test with the new motor now. I will. The Y is a little, I agree. That's good there. And that's good there. We're very, very even right now. Leveling done. That's going to home again. I need an SD card. Where did I put that one I was going to use? Did I put it in the box? I've got adapters and micro SD cards if I need. Make sure your NG code moves to max Z before motors turn off. You don't want the bed to drop. It's okay, Del Marcus. Check it out. Motion. Let's go. Move Z. Let's move it up to up. Do max -5. Now check this out. Where is it? Disable steppers. Look at that. It didn't drop. I mean, it can. There it goes. It's a soft drop. And it gets caught up in the drop.
Yeah,
so
that motor's really great.
Yeah. And G-code home Z, and also doesn't disable power to Z when done. But that's a good safety measure. And that's the new LDO motor. So let me grab a spool holder. I really like, for just general use, these old Prusa MMU spool holders. They're really
Yeah,
nice.
there's a new LDO motor on the Z Delmar, which has like a rubber friction for waterproofing, and it prevents the Z from just slamming down. So very cool.
So that is heated up. We're gonna flip this around. And if I grind this, it's okay. I've got others of these. But that's the surface we're gonna print on. We're gonna put our filament up in here. And I think we're gonna say, if we tell this right now to, where was it? I know there was a change filament thing there. Is that what it was? Yeah, load filament. Is this gonna heat up on preheat PLA? That's fun. What's it trying to do? That preheat PLA was trying to grind the Z drive down. It was trying to push the Z drive further. I don't know why. Now it's heating up the nozzle. Pin post takedown reminder. No, this is a new pin post. That's the Rolohaun Discord link. Insert filament and press the button to continue. Now it's going slower. We're going to see some plastic. Yep, there it is. Woohoo! Throw the nozzle duct offset, does some crazy overhangs. Nice. Flat filament spool stand to go under and feed, not a first plastic extrusion. Okay, let's get that file over to a card. So we have this. What did I know I had a regular SD card right here before. I thought I had thrown it in the box here so I could use it on here, but maybe not. So we'll just grab a SD card and an adapter. And copy it. I have no idea what's actually on this card. Let's see. Apparently that one, I don't know what that is. Try a different one. What did I had it right here. A full-size SD card. It was the one I was using on the, oh, I know where it is. I know where it is. It's the one I was using on the Prusa. It's in the Prusa. We'll just use that. That'll work. Yeah, so that's got a bunch of Prusa G code on it, but we'll just send this over there. So I'll send that. We'll send it as Rolo Cube. Hopefully you enjoy the nozzle duct offset. Next will be a flat filament. Whoop, whoop. Okay, so that is copied over there. Go back to this. That's sitting there. Plug this right in the side here. Resume options. So we're going to continue. That asked if I wanted to probe more or purge more. I don't need to. So I think, is there a select from media? Okay. It's not reading the SD card. Should it have? We switch over to the touch mode UI to print from the LCD. Oh, okay. So Keith is saying we have to switch over to the touch mode UI to print from the LCD's SD or USB slot, since the Mini E3 V3 only has a single 10-pin EXP cable. So if we touch and hold, we get the option to go to the touch mode and the reboot. That's good to know. That is good to know. Now I can set this in here. And it does say SD card inserted. And we can print from the there we are. And there's our Rolo Cube. Touch. There it is. And are we ready? I guess we are. Let's start printing. This camera, oh no, let's do this. Let's lower this so we can get a, actually we don't want to lower because that's going to go up. Let's zoom in. I think that might be a decent view. Okay. Oh, it would have helped. You're absolutely right. Just grab the last little bit there. Oh. We are a little high. We are grinding a little bit. We are printing. Printing a little squished, but it's printing.
It's pretty good for a first try.
It could go up a little more. Go up even a little more. Oh, it won't let me baby step up anymore beyond that. 0.15 is the most it'll let you go. Is that normal? This is a 0.4 nozzle. Watch out for that travel move. Oh, what is the travel speed setup? It is quite loud. Travel speeds are 300. I don't know what make it is. Are you? It's a hot end that I can never remember what the name of it is.
It's very similar to a Triangle Lab CHC.
Oh, it's an actual multi-path high flow nozzle. CHC. CHC. Yep. You said that, not the other. Okay. I missed.
CHC. Yep.
Yeah. I misinterpreted. Well, it's pushing plastic. It's pushing plastic in an organized fashion. Maybe not well tuned, but it's pushing plastic. It is a bit noisy. It is a bit noisy. The steppers aren't noisy. It's the, well, it's the change in direction that ends up being noisy. I don't know what the jerk settings are or whatever. Because that's what it seems, it's that instant change. What is the max temp? As far as the whole printer? It's an open air printer, but it is all ABS and ASA. At least my build is. Do you think the bell tension is too high or too low, Canrog? Use a way to make this an enclosed printer, put it into a Voron. Trying to figure out. Yeah, it's X and Y that are causing that thunk. You have some issues with your mic. You have some noise when you're not talking.
Could be mine.
It's very similar to a V0 size. Yep. It might fit in the Phoenix. My 320 build V2 fits in the Phoenix. That's printing. This was yesterday's task. I don't know if the default config has stealth chop enabled. I don't remember. I'm thinking that the panel protective layers are going to stay on, and we can peel them in Colorado, and we might have a thing. We might work on doing something about that. Is that noise from switching between stealth chop and spread cycle? Oh, that's interesting. Stealth burners look tiny in the Phoenix. They do. Probably auction off the right to peel those panels. Scope, you're on the right track, but for a cause. We'd only do that for a cause. And we haven't talked about it, anything. We haven't actually made any plans, but the idea came up. So the stealth chop threshold is 120 millimeters per second. Is that what I'm hearing? And we do have, on infill, we're hitting 125. If we go down here and just tune the speed down, let's tune the speed. Speed. Let's go down 5 or 10%. That might go away. It's not. Well, it's not doing travels. And the infill is 125. Do you have to say do it, or that's flow? Speed is at 90%. And we can go even lower. It's 75% speed. We can't switch LCD modes while printing or the print will stop. I turned this down to 75% and it's still making that noise, so it shouldn't be hitting the stealth chop threshold if it's 120 millimeters per second. I mean, it's definitely on change in direction. And I
It's
can
hard to see on video for me because it's delayed. The audio's delayed.
Yeah. I never set you back up with a live view.
Yeah, which is okay.
After I had to reboot, that's something I forgot to do. And printing faster makes the noise less of an issue. It's still there, but I care less. The printer firmware like Klipper where you can change your config while printing. That would be RepRap firmware. Okay, no. You can change almost everything live.
That's cool.
Because the full config are G-code commands. The full config is G-code commands. So you can send a new version of a command and change. I don't know if that's universal across every command or not, but many things you can do. We were printing on my V0, the blue V0 that we built with RepRap firmware, and I was getting filament out errors. The filament sensor was triggering. So we just sent a command to disable the filament sensor in the middle of printing.
That's pretty cool.
100% confident it's the belt tension being too low. While we're here then, let's bump this back up to 100%. Go back, and we are going to pause the print, and we're going to check belt tension. So that's probably not where I would put the tool head on this printer at the end. Oh, this is pause, so never mind. Well, this is pause, so let's stop. Okay. Does it go to the back on the NG code? Let's check the belt tensions. Pop this thing off. If it's fairly squished first layer. Considering that was squished and nothing else has been tuned, that does not look too bad. So let's do belt tension stuff. It's now stopped. So everything should be. So on the stop, it didn't change the temperatures. Back. It kept it on the stop interface here. It left everything heating. Menu, heating fan, and cool down. And then movement, disarm the steppers. Okay. Marlin will kill heaters on stop. But the display didn't. I canceled it. There we go. I know I just got fingerprints all over that, but I wanted to feel how much of a gouge that put in. And it put a little bit. I was too close.
Well, I'm glad to see it printing, Steve. That's awesome. I'm probably going to drop out here, but appreciate you having me on stream.
It didn't actually make a gouge. Thank you for being here. This was awesome. I really enjoyed you being able to answer some questions, hanging out with us. Big time.
It was a lot of fun. Thanks for everyone for tuning in and checking it out. A Marlin Rook is really cool, and maybe we'll see more of them.
Before you go, everybody, a link to Run's channel is in the description. Be sure you go there and subscribe. And the pinned post is the Discord. So, once again, thank you. We'll be in touch. I'll let you know how the rest of this goes.
Awesome. Appreciate it.
Talk to you later.
Thanks.
let's see where, let's use our fancy dancy filament gauge and see where we're at. So I am going to home all. And with that, for the remainder of the thing, I think you can get, here. It's still not working. Music isn't working. I got to figure out why music isn't working. I was trying to get music working. Now we're going to move it to the, we're going to move it in 10mm increments. Somewhere where we're going to be able to get a tension right here and here. Hey, Gert. So we're going to test our belt tension right here. Pull this thing off. See if we can get this in here. So we're at somewhere on 2.3. Use a carbon filter, works great, reduces the styrene smell a lot. See you, Andres. That's somewhere on 2.3. I mean, we're awfully close between them. We're at 2.3. So I don't think we're as loose as you might have thought. So are we saying we can change some of this interface? Let's go down. The recommended is 2.0, yeah. So it's tighter than would be typical for this setup. And it looks pretty even. This is the PF Makes tension tool that we just started checking out on the channel a couple of streams ago. It's available at West 3D. These are not GT3 belts. These are GT2 belts. And the steppers are not getting hot. So let's go in here. I wanted to check, can I set things like Stealth Chop threshold here, or do I have to go to the other interface? Settings, machine. Filament diameter, max acceleration, steps per millimeter. I'm looking for TMC settings. TMC, hybrid threshold. Yeah, there's the 120. CMFO. Possibly the noise is because it's a bit too tight. Is that a thing? Could be. I don't know. So what if we basically disable Stealth Chop and just run spread cycle? Can I do that just by lowering this to the lowest, down to 1? I'd actually like to try it in spread cycle only. See how loud it is. There we are. Just disable it. How do you, is there a disable? Back, hybrid threshold, oh, Stealth Chop, there we are. So 1, okay, that's where we want to go. So we're going to say 0. Okay, and Y, let's say 0. And Z, 0. Oh, and we definitely don't want that on E anyway, right? Back, say printer settings, okay. what's it say now? Settings stored. So where do I go? So I need to change my Z offset. Is that here also in machine? In settings. I didn't see that. Home offset. I don't think that's what I want. Where's our Z offset? Is it going to save my, because I had baby step that. The baby step was, is that a max that it'll do? We can just try it again. Is that the, it is the Big Tree Tech. Yep, it is the TFT 35. I've had this thing for like 4 or 5 years. Probably when they first came out is when I bought it for my CR10. I hooked it up, but I never really used it for very long. Okay, we are going to print that again. And I'm just going to go in and immediately baby step it up the full max. It didn't hurt my bed last time. What is in here? Z fade, MBL, mesh edit, mesh valid. Yeah, leveling. Oh, we could have done 0.3, 0.2. Okay, that's neat. Oh, that's not what I wanted. I wanted to go back. What is it doing? I could tighten the Z knobs a bit. Yeah, let's do that. That's a good call. Let's go just the same amount all the way around. I just do that much. So let's back and print from there the Rolo cube again. Why isn't it? Is it not actually stopped? Print. There. That. Oh, there we go. Okay. Now they're heating. And it's going to chime at me this whole time, isn't it, while it's heating? This has been good. I appreciate everybody. Huge thanks, Keith, for your help on this. Thanks to the Rook team and the Fabreeko team. We are going to see this print, hopefully, see if the noise goes away. And then we're probably going to call it, because I need to get back to getting ready for Rocky Mountain. We're getting closer and closer. The green should be Yoda. Well, Ron said his favorite color was green. So this is the quick green I could go grab. I am really surprised that that bed doesn't have a permanent gouge in it. Can't wait to party again at Rocky Mountain. Yep. Chubby croc print. That's true. I'll have to do one of those on here before it goes away. I am a little sad to be giving this away, actually. It has turned out way better than I thought it was going to be honest. I will publish. The intent is to publish anything I changed on my GitHub. The big things are going to be the changes to accommodate the screen. But you have to realize that much of what I did here kind of requires you do all the things associated with that. So like the screen needs this front skirt corner to be printed in order for the power supply to properly mount. What is... There we go. Took a little while for the filament to get past its ooze point. It is a little close still, but it's not as close as before. There's more kits coming. Build another. Be good to add a Fabreeko root config to Marlin as well, since our general root configure is based on LDO's kit. Before I send this away, if we want to try anything, I'm more than willing to get the... You can the question if you can double click the knob to get baby stepping. You can in the Marlin interface. In the touch interface, there's a baby step button right here. Yeah, Keith, I absolutely. If we can do it quickly before I need to send it off, I can help validate a Fabreeko setup. But we are not getting those changes. We are not getting the clunky noises. So I think it probably did have something to do with that threshold, and we weren't disabling that. We weren't putting it into a state where it was not switching. And it is not loud. I would just leave it on spread cycle myself. Just have that assurance of the most torque you can get for a given settings. Is the winner going to Rocky Mountain? Oh, I never even asked. I'll check with the email, because that would be absolutely fabulous. It's unlikely, considering just averages, but that's a good question. Or any other event that I'm going to be at this year. Stealth Chop isn't required for sensorless homing unless you're using RepRap firmware. I don't use Stealth Chop when I'm sensorless homing in Klipper on my other machines. I don't know if it's required here. Maybe Keith can answer. See you, Kenrod. Thanks for your help too. I appreciate it. Stealth Chop, the torque is lower. That's the case. Why not use on extruders? Because you want torque on the extruders. And you're not gonna get an advantage on an extruder to Stealth Chop versus spread cycle, unless there's like a smoothing factor that might show up in prints. I don't know. But this is way quieter right now. Ask Jason for the next kit. The only way that makes sense, the most of the way that makes sense, is either just to give feedback or to do it on a stream. It would have to be worth it for me to just give feedback, because I have such a full streaming schedule. Stealth Chop is only quieter at slow speeds and accelerations. Pretty sure drivers go into spread cycle mode while sensorless homing. They don't on RepRap. You have to actually change the mode. But the RepRap firmware, you have to actively change it. But, and I don't think they do on Klipper either. Sensorless homing for jam detection. This is good. I'm happy. I'm very pleased with the overall build. The cable sleeving cleaned up the wiring to a very nice level. I get another taste of Marlin after many years. So Yeah, I'm happy. And I hope, I'm gonna refresh my memory here, Galax is happy as well. Are you still here, Galax? Just for curious. Do we does Rook do serials? How many, if they do, how many, or is Mark 1 up to, or how does the serial system work? They do have serials. How does the serial system work? Is it all Rooks? Is it just Mark 1s? Does this constitute a serial? I like it when I don't have to do anything. Jake over there at Millennium was nice and gave me a serial without me having to do anything. I have most of my boron serials without doing anything because they're all dev. It's on Discord. Each of Rolo's models have different serials. Okay. You can get a serial. All Rooks are the same. We're at 208. Nice. So is this 209? So once again, I am going to let this print finish, but it is not tuned in the slightest. I haven't done any slicer tuning, no tuning. So that will need to be done or done by Galax. You got mad and left because you're not asked to use this printer. It's an exercise for the winter. I mean, to be honest, yes. I'm making sure that it is capable of being tuned, so I'm probably going to do a little pass at it. Give a little more conservative starting profile. Because I think some of the settings in this V0 profile might be a little higher than I'd want to just run with. For someone, I don't know the skill level of the recipient. Works on my machine, yeah. So the ability to turn it up is here. They can do that if they're comfortable with it and know what they're doing. We are right at 4 hours. So with that, we are going to wind down here and sign off. Tuesday, I am planning on doing a Tuesday stream. We are done with the green V2 build. So I think Tuesday is going to be a variety stream of whatever I have to work on or can work on getting ready for Rocky Mountain. I have my V2 needs continued work on. I have my Legacy I'm working on. I have Tridex I need to work on. I don't know what we're going to work on, but it'll be something to do with one of those likely. So, and then next Sunday, I think we're going to do black box unboxing and maybe look at the TD1 from Ajax. Because black box kind of ties into that. I'll be able to use the black box to do some HueForge prints if I like. So, and since the TD1 is the new hotness just released by Ajax here, there we are, then I'm hopefully be able to cover the assembly of that, of the kit that Ajax sent me. So, are you taking a U-Haul to Rocky Mountain? All those printers are going to take some room. Yeah, we have a cargo van rented. So with that, thank you, everyone. Thanks for the gifted memberships. Thank you. Big thanks to Rolohaun and team. Fabreeko provided this kit. Congratulations to Gallic. And thanks to Polymaker for letting me give away another roll of filament. So hope everyone has a good rest of your weekend. Good week. Hope to see you Tuesday. Take care. Enjoy the build.